Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roll Together RPG and to our next episode of a Chronicles of Aeodrun one-shot kind of thing. Is what we're doing. This is going out on the Patreon and the YouTubes, so yes. Hello, everybody. My name's Josh. I use he, him pronouns, and I shall be your game master for tonight. And as you can see, I am joined by the ever lovable, ever adorable, and for some reason I want to say the ever fluffy Tom. Hi, Tom.
I'll take. There's a fluffiness to me. I'll take it. Hello, Josh. You're also rather fluffy.
I am very fluffy.
Hello, my name's Tom. I use he, him pronouns. Do you want me to introduce who I'm playing, or should we?
I think everybody can tell from the other than the podcast listeners
from the clobber. I am playing Brahm, Abraham Shatteroak, who is my character in this ongoing adventure. He is half orc, half elf, all poppet. Yes, I think we'll get to quite where we're joining Brahm in his timeline, but a lot of stuff has happened to him, and a lot more. I mean, looking forward, a lot more stuff is going to happen to him. Brahm is very much a feather on the wind of fate, battered back and forth. Most things out of his control. You know, a lot of other people have a lot of ideas for poor Brahm Shatteroak, and he just has to go with the tide.
Indeed. So, we are going to jump straight into the session. However, I would first like to say that we are proud to be sponsored by Phoenix Dice. You can check the description below to get the link to their website, where you can get yourself some lovely clickety-clack math rocks, including some limited edition Roll Together dice. If you use the code Roll Together, all caps, at checkout, you can get yourself 25% off of your purchase. We are also proud to be supported by Bearded Ladies and Michael Dobson's character arts. Both of those are, well, Bearded Ladies is a clothing company that is ran by Roll Together veterans Ed and G, and Michael Dobson's character art is ran by Michael Dobson, who plays Lucian in the long-running campaign. And you'll see Bram's picture next to, just above, behind the name on the overlay now. That piece of artwork was done by Mike. If you go to his Instagram page, commissions are open. So if you'd like to see your own characters done in this lovely art style, then hit Mike up for a commission. And with that, I have one more thing to say before I forget, because I always seem to forget to do this and then remember at the last minute. Massive thank you to the D20 Club on Patreon. They are fantastic. They are the best. You can join them from as little as one of your local currency per month, or one goat, which must be sent to Tom, by following the links in the description below. Because we are on YouTube with this, if you'd like to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below. That will help tell us what you like, so we know what to make more of. And with that, we will see you in a moment as we go through the title sequence. Wow. During the one of the few days that you've been able to get rest so far, a lot has happened in such a short space of time since you've been back at Solomon's mercenary company. You've met a whole host of new people. You've been reintroduced to Solomon. You found out that Kimdak is still around and is still causing problems. You've fought infused creatures, mutated creatures. You've battled against the Reavers, who you were told not to go against.
I would like to point out that Brahm, having been scolded, is rarely the one to start the fight. It's the others who are like, oh, no. Bram's
However, you were itching to start the fight.
Oh, I was, but I didn't. Intention, it's not necessarily. But yes, folks, we're slightly going back in like the timeline for the recording. So hopefully Brahm has remained a good and lovely boy who would never do a sin. But yes, so I managed to. Also, I'm still wearing Reaver colours, which has not been as big a problem as I thought it might be. But
no, it's mainly armbands that symbolise that you're a member of the Reavers.
They don't have scarves made with love and care.
No, they don't.
Anyway,
But on this night where you are able to get yourself a long rest, you are in your rubber ducky pajamas that were left over from the last time you were here. Although any memories of the last time you were here are completely gone from your brain.
I'm happy that they've come back. You know, I don't even know if I necessarily remember ever buying them, but
You got them from someone, from somewhere, but
somewhere, yeah.
you're not quite sure where. But you're preparing yourself to go to sleep. Now, you're one of the rare cases out of everybody in the party at the mercenary company where you have your own room. You don't have to share with anybody. Mainly because Lucian and Udric are sharing a room, and so Elodie is sharing with Lilla. Perry has their own room, and Hera has their own room with Sunny.
Yeah.
So you pairing up with Perry, probably not such a good thing, considering the fact that you two haven't really clicked really that well, or haven't really had much of a chance to really hang out and speak.
I mean, Bram's polite and nice, but is very much like going, well, she doesn't like me, but that's not the main concern one. I mean, you need to trust each other. I don't care if you like me, but I need to trust you when it comes to being part of a mercenary group, which, yeah. I don't think she'd let me sleep in a bed. I've got a feeling she'd make me sleep on the floor or something, which is something that Bram does. You know, it's also quite weird.
You're used to.
Yeah, it's also quite weird that I'm getting like a softish bed. I think you've been talking about like not getting much long rest, but even that's sort of like his sleeps. He's twitchy when it comes to that, you know. Still sort of waking up at like the slightest noise and then being like, it's the difficulty. He's supposed to be well rested, but also, yeah, he's also very used to just being by himself. He can't remember. I mean, he remembers being with his mother previously, but, you know, actually, we're going to see if he ever has hung out with anyone else. But, weird times.
So you're getting yourself ready for bed. Now, this room is still technically geared to have two people in it, so there is a bunk bed. Would you sleep on the top or bottom bunk?
Bottom bunk makes it easier to get out the door.
Yeah, so you sleep on the bottom bunk. Your armor, your mother's mace, your shield, it's not really your shield at the minute.
No, it's just the shield. What I use, which I have tried to put my like family insignia on, but it's not my shield.
No, we'll get into that where your shield actually is, but that's all. Are you a neat person when it comes to putting your equipment away, or is it just sort of sprawled all over the place?
No,
what would you say?
Neat, got well trained. Never own anything that you couldn't drop at a moment's notice, but also not being able to get your armor on if you get attacked would get you killed. So I think Brahm also sort of is this the thing that he's dedicating before he's going to bed. He's making sure the weapon's clean, that he's, you know, even sort of like, it's, I know sort of Hera has that sort of military training, but I think Brahm has very similar kind of like making sure his boots are clean, making sure, also he washes a lot, you know, sort of like things like that. It's very much like he knows what it would be like not to be able to eat, to sleep, to bathe. So he is keeping it clean. He's not the best at making sure he's eating because he's doing stuff for other people, but he's doing his best to be like, okay, you don't know when you're going to have to up sticks and get out of here. But actually, I can safely say this. We haven't really talked about like, Is it I assume it's like a shared bathroom. Is it a shower? Is it a bath? You know, how does...
We went into it in one of the earlier episodes. It is definitely a shared bathroom. It's at the end of the corridor. So right at the end of the corridor is, on the left is Perry's room, on the right is Hera's room, and then the bathroom is the door that's sort of like at the end of the hall sort of thing.
Okay, so next to those two. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also Brahm is not going to be having long baths then, because Perry will probably come and yell at him, and also it's, you know what it's like if someone else is in the bathroom where he's just. Look, my point being that he's used to doing things very quickly, so, like, especially considering he's been out in the field for a while, he's probably started stinking a bit, but now is like, right, I need to just. He's very good at, like, washing in the sink. I think, like, is it the kitty wash, or I can't remember what the term is, but that same sort of like, I will clean myself off, but rather than just be like, I'm having a nice bubble bath.
Yeah, you're more used to having sort of like a strip wash down at the river sort of thing, cleaning the essentials and not soaking or anything. So, you know, you've had your wash for the evening.
I think it's very funny, Joshua, it's just me and you, because whenever they keep me on it, and I'm like, no, let's spend 5 minutes talking about how Brahm washes. Let's talk about that world building. I think, again, like, because if it's the stuff he left behind, where he's all, like, using this quite, like, 5-year-old caustic soap, which has just been, like, you know, my point being that Brahm doesn't smell bad, but he's not floral or anything, because that gives you away when you're in the wild. He's very practical in that way. Yes, please, describe Brahm having a lovely wash.
It's just a quick strip wash.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you're used to. Again, you don't have your armor with you at the moment, and you know, training is like your mother's training is drilled into you that you need to be able to get out of the situation quickly. If you're in a hot bubbly bath naked, and somebody attacks, how are you going to defend yourself? What are you going to do when you're exactly? So
I'm trying to think, again, sorry for distraction, what there is a film where it is like where the person gets attacked in a bath, and it seems like it's not John Wick, but it seems that sort of thing of like having to have combat training in a bath.
No, it is John Wick, I think. There is a scene where they are in a bathhouse and he does do
so in the first one where, yes, he's fighting other people, but I'm thinking about the hero being the one, like, I don't think it's like the Pink Panther that my mother would jump out and attack me, but she would like train me and being like, this is what
The
you
Witcher?
It
on
might
Netflix?
be, yeah, sort of like.
I remember there being like I think there was a bathhouse scene. I might be getting the Witcher Netflix series confused with a mission that you do in The Witcher 3. But there's things out there.
There's things out there, and I don't think Brahm has. I think Brahm has probably had to be like, I need to get my clothes on really quickly in the river because there is a bear, but I don't think he's had to do a bathhouse fight. But so your point being, like, what do you do if you're naked? I'm just like, run at them and kick them, because the last thing people want is to fight a naked person and scream.
They run away if they're naked.
They run away naked, yeah.
But yes, you are nice and cleaned up. You're in your room. Yes. While you're in your room, and everything's all set up all nice and neatly, and you're preparing yourself for bed, you hear a knock at the door.
I'm wearing my pajamas. So I think, again, sort of like, for like my armor and stuff, is there like a mannequin? Because Solomon gave away most of the mannequins to the training pit.
Most of the training dummies, yeah.
But is there like something to put the armor? You know what I mean, like a mannequin for like the armor, or do I have to just like put it on a chair?
Not so much a mannequin. It would be more that you would have like a. So it'd be almost like a coat hanger, but it's around. It's not a coat hanger as in a
coat hanger.
Coat hanger you stick on a rail, but like a actual coat hanger where you'd hang your coats as you walk in the door, sort of thing.
Right.
But
so
it's a mini version. It goes up into a T shape, and that T shape allows you to rest your armor on it, and it sort of fills out the shoulders bit of it and holds the lower half of the armor up. And then the top section has not a rounded section for a head, but it has like a flat disc bit that you can rest a helmet on if you have one.
Right.
Obviously you don't, but you can rest your hat on it.
Yeah.
And your trousers would need to be folded up, as would your gloves and like shoes and all boots and all that sort of stuff would be.
Is there a rack for weapons, or is there a hook that I can? Because I'm just thinking about like where I'm putting my accoutrements.
Yeah, I reckon you would probably there's probably provided a single weapon rack, like a
sort of like flat, kind
like
of
a
like
stand with
Yeah.
2 semicircle hooks on it that you could just place your mace onto, and that holds that in place. But there's nowhere for you to put your shield or anything. There's nothing like hooked on the wall or anything. This is all given to people for what they come in with, sort of thing.
And sort of like it's a generic weapon thing where you're just like, that could be for a staff, that could be. So I've done that armor off. For podcast listeners, Tom's taking off the hat and the scarf because he doesn't wear that when he's sleeping, obviously. Still has the ashes, so it's a pendant that looks like it's got phoenix. It's like a vial that has phoenix wings, which is the ashes of his father. Shield. Brahm also, because actually we're getting into this later. Brahm has like experience with wood carving from making stuff, so there's like a knife, for where he's kind of got. It's that thing. It's like he's ready to answer the door, but also if someone comes at him, he probably can't get to his mace, but he can at least get the knife and know that he. So his hands like. In his pajamas, and then as we finally get into this, and Brahm just goes, come in.
There's no answer.
Gets the knife, and also because he's aware that there is a child in the house, so he's not just going to go and go. So it's that sort of thing, like. The knife is sort of like loose at his side in his right hand, which is his good hand, and because his left hand is bad, he's still sort of he's taking the gloves off, but he's still wearing sort of a bit like a protective glove, just to sort of keep it all together. So
like an underglove type thing.
Underglove, just to keep it all. So for those of you who are watching it, Brahm, I think by this time we've talked about Brahm like cooking as well. Where he's got dexterity in the hand. It's just not as good as when he was a musician, So I just want to explain things. I want world building here, where I was like, okay, so knife in right hand, opens door with left.
Okay, you open the door with the left. There is nobody stood there. However, on the floor is a nice-sized plate. On it is a large slab, almost you could use it as a doorstop, of cake, and there is a little like cocktail stick in it with a little note on it that says "Eat me," and there's a fork that's been provided as well.
What type of cake is it?
We can color-wise, it is. It's not chocolate. It's more of a sort of light brown colour. Looking at it, it reminds you of a. I can't remember what the bloody cake's name is now. We'll just say it's a red velvet cake.
Okay,
but brown. So it's a brown velvet cake.
Brown velvet, and also because I said like he's got cooking experience, more cooking than baking, but he'd be like, it'd be the sort of thing, folks, that if you looked at it and you went, that looks like a coffee cake or pistachio cake, or like
you would know, and you would have seen Rodney had been making a cake at some point during that day. When you'd either come and gone, you would have just seen the door open to the kitchen had opened, either LED going in or a tally going in or something, and you would have just seen Rodney was making a cake, putting it out in the oven, and it looks like he's the cake is finished. And as you look out the door, you can see that there are cakes outside everybody else's rooms. So, and just as you look towards the stairs, you can see a small blob of blonde hair going down the stairs, which would be Tally.
That's Brahm makes a mental note to thank her in the morning. I'll take the. I think I'd take a moment to see if anyone else is coming out. No, it's how late is it?
It's not that late. It's probably about 7 or 8 o'clock. So it's past dinner. It's past dinner time. You would have had dinner already. So this is more like a afternoon snack type thing.
and I can sort of
And midnight, not midnight snack, but
but sort of
mid-evening
late
snack.
night
Late night snack. There we go. Yeah.
yeah. And I can still the mercenary company's still sort of there's a hum. There's still people up. And,
Yeah, there's still people up and moving around. You can hear the others, the other members of your party or parties when you split off and stuff. You can hear them mulling around and doing their own things. You can hear quiet conversations being had and like behind doors and things.
I mean,
there's not much noise coming from downstairs other than if you've got a really good passive perception, you can hear the shifting of papers.
It's the from of large groups of people, which again is putting Brahm a little bit on edge. He's not a city bird, and also not used to being around this number of people. I think he's again, folks, this is a great thing that we get to talk about this. Bram's very solitary, really, very sort of personable, but also very sort of contained. A lot going on. Yes, I will take the cake. Put the knife back down, but keeping it sort of. I think he sleeps with it under his pillow.
The knife or the cake?
No, I put the cake under the pillow. I
thought I'd clear that up.
Yeah, I think it's very funny. I mean, it's a little bit like where people were talking about. Again, we're getting real world here. Like sort of like elderly relatives who were used to like rationing and would hide food in there. So people would talk about like their grandparents like having cake under their or a biscuit, just because you don't know when. Brahm is cautious. Brahm is also, as I said, ready to run off at the last minute. But so I've got a bunk bed.
Yep.
I've got the whatever furniture is in this room.
So you've got the bunk bed. You've got a chest of drawers, which is what your armor is currently sitting on top of, and a chair that's next to it, which you've probably rested your gloves on and your boots underneath.
Yeah,
that's it.
So I don't have a table.
Not a table or anything, though.
No. I think I'll try and move the chair next to the chair so I can put like the cake on the.
Oh yeah.
Do I have a windowsill as well? Do I have a?
There's a window. There's a very small window, not a big windowsill, but there is a very small windowsill. Your room looks out onto the sort of grass garden area that overlooks the stables and stuff.
I'm not expecting. Can I just make a perception check, just as a kind of like I'm going to be settling down for the evening? Let me just look out the window, see.
Yeah, of course. Make a perception check.
I've got the. It's a 14.
14. You look out of the window. There's not really anything going on out there. I think the one thing that you do clock is there is a small crack of light that comes from the building. So a door has been opened downstairs and light sort of fills out into the grass yard area, and you see the silhouette of a large figure come out of this light, and then the door shut. Just as the door shuts, you hear a muffled voice say, "I'll see you in the morning," and then the door shuts.
Okay, so Rodders is going home.
Going home for the night, yeah.
Okay. Do I have curtains or blinds, or is it just?
Have curtains, yeah. You don't have the net curtain thing, but you do have curtains that you could pull across.
I don't think I will. I think I'm again used to sort of like. I like seeing the stars, which is a bit different because we're in a town. But I realise I'm asking a lot of questions around. But there's not much in terms of light pollution, because there is a little bit of electricity in the world, but there's not enough to pollute the sky. So when the stars are out, you can still see them quite prominently. And how noisy is the town in general?
If you were more central in the town, probably a little bit noisy because of the docks and the tavern and the inn that there is there. Tavern and pub, should I say. But because Solomon's is more closer towards the entrance of the town on a sort of higher ridge that is separate from everywhere else, you can get the muffled sounds. I think the thing that you would hear the most would be the sort of bells, the light bells ringing from the ships. Not because people are ringing them, but because where they're swaying, they're slightly chiming a little bit, and a little bit of a sea breeze comes through every now and then. But other than that, it's from and the fact that you're you're on the back of the building, overlooking the yard area, but the back of the building is the front of is the entranceway to the town, sort of thing. So a lot of the noise would be sort of cancelled out from where you are.
I just want to say for the audience, to explain, we've never really had a chance to stop like this and be like, what's in my room, what's outside the window, what's, so like, which I'm just finding interesting. Yes, as I said, Brahm, cautious, sort of ever so slightly like caged animal kind of feeling, sort of like the tension in him, which hasn't, that I think he does a better job of not showing when he's with the others, but that's sort of like, now he is, well...
You can let your guard down a little bit now that there's nobody watching.
I can let my guard down and also heighten my guard of being like that sort of thing, like going, yeah, okay, it's funny that he's wearing ducky pajamas, but also the fact that he had to be like, hi, don't just throw the door open because there are other people here, including small children.
Yeah.
I sort of have moved the cake onto like the corner of the chest of drawers. He's had a bit of a weird thing when some of his stuff turned up, and it's stuff that he's like, oh shoot, I haven't seen this in 5 years, and also stuff he has no memory of, and he's like, well, where's that? And similarly, where he was like, there are other objects, like he had his father's sort of black cowboy hat that's missing. He had the loot that he made that's missing. There's sort of like things that he's like, things that he had kind of said goodbye to, and now it's sort of like, it's like I said, like he got weirdly emotional when he saw the soap again, where he was like, yeah, that's my traveling soap, and the fact that hasn't been used. Anyway, Josh, the point I'm making is that he's moved things around.
Yeah.
He's now put the plate and the cake on the side, moved it over, and kind of has a moment of like going, should I go share this with someone? But then he's like, no, I'm gonna eat this cake by myself.
As you go to start eating the cake, or just before, as you pick up the fork and sort of cut the first little slice for you to put into your mouth, as you're doing in the process of doing that, a big black and white furry tail just flops over your face from the top bunk, and then begins tickling your nose.
Very sort of like slightly reach up. Again, this is establishing I can physically feel Hawthorne, right?
When Hawthorne wants you to.
Right, so she can kind of like solidify, but...
Yeah, to you, Hawthorne, who is a fox, for anybody who doesn't know, Hawthorne...
Should we do a full description of like what Hawthorne?
So Hawthorne is a fox.
And that's good.
And that's it. And has been established as a black and white fox, although can change the colour of her fur depending on situations or her mood or anything, really. She's a bit of a trickster. There aren't any fey creatures in this world in terms of like
traditional
traditional D&D Feywild creatures. There are Fey-like creatures in the world, and Hawthorne would fit into a Fey-like category.
We've also discussed, actually this might, not a spoiler, but we talked about like fairy cakes, so there is discussion of like Fey-like beings, but
fairies are a thing,
and so as I said, Brahm is half elf, and with that the elf half is the wild elves, or sort of like the wood elves, so he has an understanding of like, the things you see in the woods. So, well, we might learn a little bit more about this. So she is making her tail solid.
And brushing your face with it and blocking your vision.
Yeah. Another thing that's worth pointing out, again, just sort of reiterating. So Bram's got like a dark black eye and a grey eye, Hawthorne has the same, but in reverse. So it seems
it's inverted.
Inverted. So black and white with like greyish, blackish eyes.
And whenever Hawthorne's fur changes colour, the eyes always stay the same.
Consistency. I'm going to very like when you like when you're dealing with a cat and you're just like, I'm trying to sort of like try and slightly move the tail and then sort of like go, can I help you, Majesty?
As you try to put your hand on the tail, your hand just goes for it.
Yeah.
But you still feel the fur tickling your nose.
Yeah. Oh, very, very funny.
The tail disappears and appearing next to you, as if from a sort of phasing into existence, as it were, is Hawthorne sitting on the bed, looking at you, head cocked, big foxy grin on her face, looking at you. That looks nice. Looks very nice.
I haven't eaten. I offer the first bite to her.
I can't eat it, although you can definitely tell me what it tastes like.
All right. I eat the cake.
Right. But the cake is sweet, not overly sweet, but the there's no filling in it, so it's not like it's a cake that's been cut in half and it's got cream and jam on it. It's just the cake on its own. It did have a light layer of icing on the top, and it wasn't a. It was a freshly made sort of cream icing, and that complements the dryness of the actual cake. Even though it wasn't actually that dry, it's quite a nice and moist cake. But the cream on the top sort of balances it all out and brings everything together. You do get a little bit of a lemon zest come from the cream on the top.
So, using kind of Bram picking up on things and also sort of his sort of cook chef feat, does it feel like it's stuff that have been used in the lemon cheesecake and there has been like
whatever was left over from the lemon cheesecakes has been used to make the icing for this cake at least.
I explained that to Hawthorne in that kind of detail, and I think with a little bit more, like, as we said, like technical, like you described it, where he's being able to be like, oh well, it's obviously, not like, oh, it has been cooked for this amount of time, but like the knowledge of going, oh, this is this kind of cake and the moist, and like you just said, I think he's able to reiterate this is why the icing's there, describe it, and then just go, I mean, have you?
Sounds very nice.
It is. I mean, have you eaten before? I do keep offering
plenty
you
of times.
But you just don't eat when you're with me.
I just don't want to.
Oh. Do you?
I don't need to eat. It's just if I fancy it, and I don't fancy it right now, so I don't.
That's good. So you don't need to eat to keep. But I'll keep offering, maybe. It only seems polite.
When something that looks appealing comes along, I might take a bite of it. If not, then I won't.
But I can't argue with that. How are you, by the way?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Good. Very good.
How are you feeling? How's your chest?
Still hurts. Still aches.
It's a bugger that you lost your memory. You don't know what happened.
I mean, I'm able to put a little bit more. Kimdak, it seems.
Yeah, you've been told some stuff by Solomon and the others. It felt like Solomon told your entire backstory to everyone at one point.
Yeah,
so I don't know what was going on there.
I don't know.
I was thinking to myself, calm down, dude. Come on, you can't seriously be giving this guy secrets away all the way in the first sort of meet-up. Looks to the camera. In the first session.
Bram looks over at the corner, doesn't see anything, looks back. I mean, I'm sure he had his reasons.
And full of mystery.
Well,
but with a kind heart.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Come on, look,
Yeah.
that note says you got to eat the cake. Stop talking to me and bloody eat it.
No, sorry, Majesty. I keep eating. It's very big, isn't it? It's a big
It's a very
slab.
big bit of cake.
Yeah.
You probably won't be able to finish it all in one sitting, especially not after the dinner you had.
Yeah. Yeah. Sort of. Again, because I've just picked up that she's not in a conversation mood, so I assume she's just watching me.
She's literally just watching you eat.
Yeah.
She seems to be taking in every single bite that you're having, and staring at it as it goes into your mouth, and then looking back as you go to pick another bit up, and then stares back at you as it goes into your mouth. I mean, if it was anybody else, this would be creepy, but
I've had 5 years to get used to it,
Yeah.
and also the fact that I'm like, because I don't always know where she is, I always assume that she is watching, which is just
always watching.
Always watching you. I think I eat sort of like, is it like a triangular slab of cake?
Yeah, you could have, before you started eating it, you could have easily used it as a door wedge.
I sort of eat, I'm going to say I eat close to half, but there's still like the chunk of and I think he's going to find a handkerchief or something, and wrap that up and put it in his pack.
I'd say it's not beyond Bram's kit to have something that you could use to, like, almost like tinfoil / like cellophane sort of thing, like a handkerchief that you could use to wrap bits of food up to keep them for longer. Like, especially when it comes to like preparing things for the road, you want to cook something like jerky to last a long time. You have things to put it in.
I know in real world you can get like honey waxed kind of paper, which is it's that sort of thing that he's got a selection of. Yes, so that is his. Yes, so he's going to wrap that, just because, like I was saying earlier about rationing, where it's like he will probably eat that, and weirdly, it's also a feeling of bartering, that it might be if you need to suddenly give someone some cake or something, Animals as well. Brahm has spent a lot of time in the woods, and so knows that sometimes you just need to give a bit of food to a deer, or to, just here you go, dear, have some lemon cake.
God, what would that do to a deer?
Side note here, because there's that whole thing about like joking about like giving Doritos to like a medieval peasant. Yeah, something that's happened in the real world is someone in like one of these caves, like in America, dropped a bag of Cheetos, and of course, mold and fungi love a cave. I love Cheetos, and so it's changed. Like the scientists there are like, shit, and having to really speed up and being like, this is changing the environment. So when people are like, oh, I think a peasant would be fine, they're like, absolutely not. This is really. But yeah, let's see if I'm gonna find. It's funny because, folks, again, as we said, this is flashing back a bit. It's funny to think that Brams has got cake in his pockets for the next few episodes. Yes, so he wraps it, secures it, also does like a quick check of like the previous stuff that he's checked. Maybe even eats a little bit of that, where he's like, oh, it's starting to go a bit on. Yes, and now making it canon that, okay, folks, okay, Patreon listeners and watchers, Brahm is hiding food every time that we see him eating, because he doesn't know when the next stuff. So when we're having a conversation, just know that the rest of the players don't know this, but Brahm is hiding like bread and and lemon cheesecake in his pockets.
Foraging his own food.
Yeah.
That is foresting.
Foraging and foresting.
Yeah.
Because I know we don't look into background so much, but he has the wanderer background, and a large part of that is being able to forage for food. It's hospitable, and so this is the thing. So he has an eclectic diet. Doesn't eat as much as he should for a growing boy, but yes. I know, Josh, you just like, here's some cake, and I was like, 20 minutes about Brahm being sad and also having a relationship with his fox friend. Yes, so cake is secured in the bag. Does his nightly check, checks the mace, checks the shield, checks the straps. Bootlace is still just general preparation for going to bed. Also, I guess, if there is like a water jug or something, he's going to brush his teeth, rather than going to bother the bathroom again. He's just
you could easily brush your teeth using one of your 2 mess tins that you would carry around with you. You would use one mess tin to cook and eat with, and the other one to wash with, basically. So you do that. Phil, you would be provided with a jug of water and some cups that would have been on the chest of drawers anyway. So you just fill your mess tin up with a bit of water, brush your teeth, chuck the water out the window, sort of thing, and then fill yourself a jug of water up to go to bed. Glass of water, sorry, or a cup of
just
water.
an entire jug. How's the room lit? Is it candle, or is it? Oh, we don't have electric lights here.
No, there isn't electric lights in the, at least in the upstairs part of the mercenary company. But it would be cantons and cantons.
Cantons and lanterns.
Candles and lanterns was what I was trying to say, and I fused the 2 words together. So it'd be candles and like little, like in a Victorian age, they had like the little gas lamps things that you could turn on, turn off, sort of thing. You put your own light in. You'd have one of those in there,
cool.
Rather than a candle with wax.
Yeah. So snuff the light. Check again. As I said, window is not curtained, so the light's coming in. Doesn't wear like a face mask or anything, because you need to just be prepared. I know you don't say we don't have dark vision in this world, but being that sort of thing of like taking the time of sitting in the dark and being like, right, let your eyes adjust, and then
it was kind of grow accustomed to it, sort of thing.
I say goodnight to Hawthorne.
Hawthorne just looks at you and goes night, and then climbs off of the bed, and then sort of runs up the ladder and climbs up onto the top bunk.
Yeah, no, she's got her own. There's no again. There's no sign for anyone who's coming in that there's someone else sleeping in that bed. I assume no, it's just a sort of,
No.
Yeah, I think I have moved like the pillow into the set so she could be like, I lie on the pillow. But time for sleepy nights, I guess.
So as you go to sleep, and your brain is very much wired all of the time, so having this particular moment to be able to sit back and try and turn it off is difficult. So sleep doesn't come naturally to you, and definitely not quickly, but it does eventually come to you. And as you've drifted into your sleep, we watch as the audience, as Hawthorne sort of, instead of climbing down from the bed and hopping onto yours, instead sort of shifts through the top bunk,
straight
through, and lands next to you, looks over you with a cocked head, doesn't say anything, but has a big grin on her face as her form begins to shift from starting at the tail and going up to the head, begins to shift into mist, and that mist goes into up your nose and sort of for
around
you
the face and
within
the eyes,
around your face and everything, but then sort of gets sucked up into like, as you snore, sort of thing. You go like that and sort of pull all of the mist up. And I think at that point, that is when you are dreaming. And as you dream, there's your vision is hazy. You can see this mist in the corner of your eyes as you're looking around, and it's like you're journeying, trying to figure out what it is that you're trying to remember. Your brain is blocking something, but you don't know what. Your form enters into a hallway that is very reminiscent of the mercenary company. You're stood there, fully clothed and armoured. All of the doorways are there, all of the doorways are shut. You can see little bits of mist coming out from underneath each of the doors.
By dream logic, is it the sort of thing of like, I've been here before, I keep coming back here, or is this?
Yeah, it very much. Have you ever had those sort of dreams where you dream of a location, like say your secondary school, as an example, and your brain registers that that is your secondary school, but if you remember the dream when you wake up, that the configuration and layout of the place wasn't your secondary school.
But your senses say this.
Your senses tell you that it was your secondary school, sort of thing. I've had dreams before where my secondary school had that whole weird upside down staircase thing that you get, where you go
the Escher,
like that, and it's like my brain registered that as my secondary school.
Absolutely. So again, this is going to be difficult because it's dream logic, but it is the sort of thing of like, where does Brahm think he is? Where does that?
You think that you're in the mercenary company.
It's in the mercenary company, but everything's slightly. It's misty.
Everything's slightly misty. All the doors are shut. Same number of doors. You think there's the same number of doors is what you're used to, but they're not. It doesn't register for Brahm, but for Tom as the player, the doors are in different locations to what they would be. So on the left-hand side, there are 3 doors that go up: Elodie and Lilla's room, your room, and then Perry's room. And they are pretty much exactly 10 feet apart. The door entrances themselves are like 15 feet apart from each other, sort of thing. But in this sort of, and it'll be the same on the right-hand side with the other rooms. However, the doors themselves in this instance that you're in now are closer together, more like they're within 5 feet of each other, and they're all pushed more towards the center of this long hallway. There also is a door at the end, similar to the. Like there would be a door that leads into the bathroom area. There is a door at the end, except for this door is a double door.
Right. I guess I start walking down the corridor. Looking at. I'm aiming for the double door, but like looking at the doors as I pass them.
You can hear, as you go past the doors, you can hear sounds of laughter. Sounds of pain, sounds of joy, sounds of fighting, all coming from different doors. And as you go past the first pair of doors, like the 2 that are opposite each other, you hear, Brahm, come on, quick, come and have a look at this. And it makes you stop in your steps for a minute as you recognize that voice as your father's. Come on, Brahm, come and check this out. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that door.
You turn, it'd be the door on your right.
Yeah.
And as you turn the door handle and open it outwards, like this billowing light sort of encompasses you, and all of the hallway and everything just disappear. And then you find yourself stood in the middle of a woodland area. Now there's light snow on the floor. You know that you're in the northern half of the continent, and this memory is a very vague memory, but you can see just off in the distance, like 20-30 feet in front of you, there your father is sat around a campfire. He's got a knife in his hands, the knife that you have, woodcarver's knife. He's got that in his hand, and you can see that he's got a lute or what looks to be the beginnings of a lute on his lap, and he looks like he's whittling at it. And as he goes, Brahm, come on, quick, come and have a look. Your body instinctively starts pulling, and as it starts pulling, everything around you begins to grow big as your form shrinks, and you run towards your father. I'm going to do this to you, Tom. Black hat on your head as you run.
Oh, go get your hat. Go get your cowboy hat. Here we go. I don't know why I didn't prepare this. Here we go. Yo, it's the return of Cowboy Bram. Yeah.
Also, no red scarf.
No. Oh, okay. So, yeah, interesting. Okay, let's work out the timeline.
Yeah.
So he hasn't. So I think actually this is the thing. He hasn't given me the hat yet.
He's not giving it to you,
but I'm wearing his hat.
Yeah, you're wearing it. He's not got a hat on his head.
Yeah.
At the minute, but you're out in the woods in the northern part of Idorune. Your father is 20 to 30 feet, now closer because you've been running towards him. On a campfire, you can see there's 2 beds set up. One is a double bed, and then there's one single bed, or bed rolls, should I say. And as you run up to your father, he's got a big beaming grin on his face. He's like, come and look at this, come and look at this. And as you get closer, he presents you with the sort of out carvings of this loot. So I found this really nice piece of wood in Mythcrest, and I decided that I'm going to start carving it up, and I'm going to make it into a loot. Now, I know I already have a loot, but I was thinking that maybe you and I could do this together. Yeah. Would you be interested in learning a bit of wood carving? Yeah? Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, I'm not going to let you hold a sharp knife or anything, but if you come and sit on my lap, and he sort of places it down in between his legs, and he grabs you under your arms.
How small am I?
You are probably about 6.
Okay.
You are very small.
Yeah.
But he picks you right up. He places you on his lap.
Yet.
Not yet. He places you right on his lap. He picks the piece of wood up and sort of lays that over the pair of you, and he puts the knife in your hand, but his hand is wrapped around yours, and he slowly shows you how to begin whittling the wood away. And you watch as you begin to carve the long neck part, is what I'm going to call it, of the... I can't remember what it's called because I'm not an instrument person.
I think it is the neck of the loot. You
begin to carve that part of it, and that memory sits with you for a little while. You, as adult Brahm, have full control over your emotions. You don't have any control over your body currently. No. You are in your smaller form, but this moment seems to go on and on and on, what feels like eternity, but not in a bad way. It's a core memory that you've latched onto and that you think about every now and then.
I think this is a kind of like comfort. You know, again, sort of like, well, this doesn't, like, when he comes out of the dreaming, it doesn't stay, but it's like, this is comforting. This is back because I think, like I said, where it's like it's established that Brahm it wasn't a safe childhood, but it was a very good childhood, and this is a perfect example of going, we're in the wilderness in the snow, but my dad's there, and the care and the love, and I think he's happy to stay in this for as long as it's almost like in the back of his head. He's like, if this is what the dream is tonight, great. I can work with this. I know it won't be because things always turn horrible for me. But this is just really
as you're sitting there, and as that eternity begins to not be an eternity, and it begins to sort of draw to a close. You watch or you listen out for the breaking of twigs in the brush. And coming out of the woods is your mother, warhammer in hand, and a large boar sort of over her shoulder carrying it, clearly dead. She throws it down onto just in front of the campfire, and your father and mother exchange words where your father congratulates your mother on the good find, and they should both begin preparing for dinner and stuff, and your father leaves you with the loot, but takes the knife away. He leaves you with the loot, and they both begin carving up dinner. The pair of you all 3 of you have a very nice family dinner together. Your mother has a warm smile on her face, sat quite close to your father, and you're sat on the other side of your actually, no, you'd be in the middle. So you're sat in the middle and they're both sat quite close to you. There's blankets that have been pulled over all of you while you're
yes,
eating.
so we're all
So you've got a blanket on you each, and then there's a blanket that covers all three of you. And you're all sort of huddled up together and eating nicely because the snow begins to settle down. And your mother pulls out a piece of tenting that because all of the camp beds that have been put down, all the bedrolls, have been tactically positioned between trees, not big oak trees or big wooden trees, but like light brush trees. So what she does is she'll pull out tarpaulin or like the tent material, and she hooks them onto either end of the trees, pulls that down into like a slope, and then pins that into the ground. She does that on both your side and your father's side, so that you've got a bit of cover from the cold. And if the snow begins to turn to sludge or it begins to rain, because that's quite sometimes happens, none of you will be affected by it.
Nice.
And your father, when it comes to bedtime, your father tucks you in the large double bedroll, and he goes to the single one and sleeps there. And your mother places her warhammer down, takes off her armor plating, but leaves the under part of her armor on. Actually, no, she doesn't. She leaves the lower half of her under armoring on, but she takes the thick jacket part off that sort of protects her from the armor from chafing, and she puts that around you to keep you warm. She's got a tank top on underneath, and you can see that the goosebumps are settling in from where she's a little bit cold, but she seems to be completely unfazed from it as she takes her boots off but keeps her socks on. Actually, no, she doesn't take her boots off. Sorry, this is Josh remembering military training. She doesn't take her boots off, and she pulls herself underneath a separate blanket, not quite a sleeping bag, but under a separate blanket, and then pulls a big fur rug that she always carries with her over the pair of you to keep you both warm. And you watch as your father does the same things. There's lots of layers, and your mother puts her arm around you and pulls you in close to her.
Does my father always take the single, or do I sort of?
Your mother is always the one that you sleep with at night.
Next to,
sleep next to at night. Yeah.
Okay, that again, just good world building. Yeah, I think that's sort of like sleeping in the because it's like the thing is like her warmth. I'm also wearing her like padded, know, so like, and it's. Again, without people might take this, but it's the smell, it's the comfort, it's the sort of. I was saying that I think she also smells the soap. We all kind of like, because I said that like caustic soap the travel soap. We all kind of stink of that. That's the kind of like So again, we'll get into sort of like what happens to Brahm later, but it's that sort of thing of him being like, oh. When he arrived, and that smell again, opening his pack that hadn't been opened, and he's like, "Wow, oh, all the things I've lost." Yeah, so just snuggled up, and just the innocent sleep of a child, but it's and like Bram's insomnia isn't something that's kicked in yet. He's comforted, he's protected. Still, I think, like you said, having been trained from an early age of going, great. When we tell you to go, you go. This is what we're doing. Do not run around like a headless chicken. Just be prepared. I know that they haven't given me a weapon, but I think there is a stick, because we talked about like him using the mace. He's also having not quite been taught weapons yet, but being like, cool, something comes in the middle of the night, hit them in the crotch. It's not honourable and it's not gentlemanly, but they do not expect a small chap to start hitting them in the crotch with a stick and then you run. Yeah, he's had that trained into him. This is a really good memory. This is a really nice memory for Brahm.
And the last thing that you have from this dream, because everybody dreams at least 7 or 8 times a night, so the last thing you have from this particular dream is as your mother pulls you in close, she gives you a kiss on the back of your head and just says, "Good night, my little Chattershield," and you sort of drift off into a sleep. And as your eyes awaken, you find yourself in that hallway again. Same number of doors there. However, the door that you've just gone through, there's no light or mist coming from underneath it.
Let's do. Okay, so was that the door on the first door on the right?
First door on the right, yeah.
What's across the corridor? What emotions am I getting from that door? Let's speed run Bram's traumatic past.
From the left,
Yeah. From the left.
as you go to step near the door, you can hear the sounds of laughter, children laughter, and as you go to put your hand on the handle, you hear Brambles. Come on, Brambles!
I guess we're doing happy memories. Let's go find Gritty.
As you open the door and step through into the next area, you find yourself again in a childlike form. In your childlike form again, slightly older than the previous memory. You're closer to the age of 12 at this point.
Scarf or no?
You've got the scarf at this point.
Yay,
yes.
Costume. Still cowboy hat.
Yeah. You are in the town of Mythcrest, and you are in a strange... It's not so strange to you, but at the point of you remembering, it's not strange to you in your childlike form, but for you, as adult Bram, it's a alien location for you at the minute, because your brain's registering where it is currently. And then it clicks. This is Solomon's. And Bram, you and Greta are both in Solomon's sort of like a flat apartment. And Greta has taken some bits of newspaper from Solomon's old newspaper carvings and has began sort of mixing them together into like a paper mache, put a bit of water, a bit of paper in, and starts sort of mixing them all together and puts them over some twigs that you've got from the garden or from outside. And she presents you with a very rudimentary looking sword made out of stick and paper mache. And she hands that over to you, and she does the same sort of thing for herself, and she's got more of a club in her hand. And she's like, I am the bad guy. You must defeat me. I am the lord of these lands.
No, you're an unfair and unjust ruler.
You will never defeat me. Brambles, I will smite you. Bonk. And she bonks you on the head with it.
A mighty blow, but my belief in justice and truth will keep me strong. And I bonk her with it.
As you bonk her with it, she goes, "Can you believe that they say those things in those little strips? It's so silly.
It's
the
so
power
weird.
of friendship will save you."
That's not how that works. But I think it's written by people who've never actually been in a fight. It's the sort of people who come back and are like, "Oh, I said like a really cool thing," and they don't know how bad fighting actually is.
Wow, you just said a lot of words that made this really dull. I'm going to donk you on the head again. Bonk.
No!
And then she runs off.
I go chasing her.
You sort of chase each other around. This is quite a large apartment area, and you're running around, and you hear the door open and close, and coming up the steps is Solomon. He has a new newspaper in his hand, and he has breakfast. He's like, oh, it's good to see you're both up and about and
Morning,
playing.
Mr. Solomon.
Good morning, Abraham. It's good to see you. Now, please, I've bought some breakfast. Would you like to come and partake?
Oh, yeah, yes, please. Greta, it's breakfast time. The fight's off.
I am Club Lord. Oh, food? Yeah.
I kind of point at her. She's Club Lord.
Ah, well, would Sir Abraham and Lady Club Lord like to come and join me for some food?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Solomon.
Yeah, food. Okay. You listen as her hooves pitter-patter across the floor as you both make your way to the sort of little island area where you can hop up and begin eating food. Well, there was a special stall that had come in today where they were selling this thing called pancakes, and with some honey syrups type stuff. So I thought we'd give that a try. I've not had that before. So he pulls out these basically like cardboard containers and puts them down and opens them up, and you get this whiff of pancake come up. It's like, ooh. He's
Are
like, oh, they do smell nice.
world building, Josh? So are they like the pancakes? Are they thicker pancakes, or are they more like the one that you pour quite lightly and then cook it like that?
You've got a mixture of the two.
Okay.
So they provide two different varieties. You've got your smaller, thicker pancakes, and then there's these really thin ones that you can put some bits in and wrap them up if you like to, or just eat them thinly. I've also picked up some blueberries, and they also suggested some bacon and cheese, which I've also purchased as well. If you want to mix them in, and I've got some fruits and some creams as well, and of course the honey syrup as well. So they mentioned some putting some lemon squeeze on. So I've got a lemon, and I'll squeeze that, and we can try that on top if you'd like, a little bit of add a little bit of sugar to it.
Such big eyes. This is so much food.
There's a lot there.
It's a lot of food, and I think like Tom has an idea of where we are in the timeline, but I mean this is this is later, so I've seen that Solomon is obviously wealthy and is able to afford this amount of food, which again Brahm is incredibly grateful for, and has that sort of, let's say, it doesn't have the greediness that you might expect from a child because he's used to like lean, like stuff. But the problem now is he's starting to get a little bit more, because it's been a while now. He's getting a little bit more used to also still has that, again, even at this young age, of hiding food and being like, in times to come, Brahm will find like slightly moldy pancake and fruit in his bag, and then be like, yeah, that was a nice memory back then. But yes, what's Greta eating?
Exactly same. She's going more for the fruity stuff rather than like the bacon and cheese. She puts a lot of strawberries and blueberries and cream onto into the thinner pancakes. She puts the strawberries, the cream, the blueberries. There's a bit of banana and some other bits in there. She puts all that in and she wraps it up basically like a wrap.
Yeah.
And then on the smaller, more thicker pancakes, she drizzles that in lemon and honey syrup.
I think I do a similar thing, but weirdly, kind of like, again, I said he is eating the bacon and the cheese, and then just sort of like, and then eating fruit. So as Greta picks
she polishes off the pancakes with the syrup and the lemon, the thicker pancakes, quite quickly, and then she goes to pick up the other one, and she turns to face you, and she's like, "Oh look, this is so big!" And as she takes a bite into it, she accidentally squeezes one end, and it just explodes all over you, covering you in it.
I shriek, but shriek delightedly, and then just be like,
"Oh dear! I'm so sorry, Brambles."
It's all right, Gritty. It's all right. Don't worry. I'll go get.
Wait. The bit of pancake that she has left, she just wipes it down the side of your cheek and then goes and starts eating into it.
Yeah. I think I also.
You look funny.
Oh, it's because someone sprayed food in my face. That's
it's so funny.
Yeah. But sorry, Mr. Solomon, we didn't mean to make a mess. We'll clean it up. But
no, you're okay. It's good to see you enjoying yourselves. And he doesn't eat anything.
I almost want to say, like, again, like, if we're imagining this, and then we're sort of seeing, like, a ghostly version of older Brahm, like, standing behind, and then just sort of, like, ghostly, like, Brahm going, "What do you know, Solomon? What do you know?" Because it's like, little Brahm has no, but older Bram's like, so much other stuff's been going on, and then like that's a weird thing of like looking into this. Like,
older Brahm, make me an insight check, please.
It's a 13.
13. Your childlike self would never have picked up on this, but as he's smiling and looking at you, you can see, looking at it through adult eyes, although your childlike form wouldn't comment on this at all, as this is a memory. There is worry hidden behind his smile. and concern.
Because I said older Brahm in that weird thing of like, having been invested in it, like the child memory, and then pulled himself back and going,
He's definitely masking it.
He's masking.
Whatever's wrong, he's masking.
Yeah. Just
But
again,
you can just pick up on it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're all eating away, and then that mist begins to sort of pull in around you and then separates again, and you're no longer at the table. You're still in the flat, but you and Greta are playing again and running around, and it's that fateful moment where
Solomon
comes in and says, "You need to come with me." And although younger Brahm sort of has a feeling about it, you instantly know what that's about, and everything begins to darken around you, and everything seems to lose its colouring other than Greta. Everything just dulls as she walks up to you and holds your hand, and then you're pulled out of that as it begins to fade to black, and you end up in the hallway again. And as Tom changes his hat, we are going to take that moment to take a quick break. We're going to have some little adverts play for those of you who'd like to pause it, go get yourself some drinks, and then come back instead of it going straight into the next half. So please feel free to stick around and watch that, and we will see you in a little bit. Goodbye.
Take care, yeah.
Check out our sponsor, Phoenix Dice, for carefully crafted click-clack math rocks for use in your favourite TT RPGs. Phoenix Dice work with recycled goods, meaning their products and packaging are all made from sustainable materials. You can go to phoenixdice.com to check out their entire selection, including some limited roll together dice. And if you use the code ROLLTOGETHER, all caps, at checkout, you'll get 25% off your next purchase.
Big love to our D20 Club on Patreon. They're great. You're wonderful. We love you so much. And they help us keep the kobolds in line, which is very important. They get up to all sorts of cheeky jam-related activities. Anyway, the D20 Club, they've created a fan Discord where you can come and chat about all things Roll Together. And they've created a wiki page to help you keep track of all of our stories, which you can find at rolltogether.fandom.com. You can join and be as cool as they are from as little as one of your local currencies per month by following the link in chat or in the description below.
Welcome back, everybody. We have had a very brief, short rest, and we are going to jump straight back into the action. Brahm is currently dreaming, and we are getting to relive some of Bram's memories that we may or may not have seen in the past, or at least touched on in the past. So we are going to carry on as you are in this hallway area. You have been through two doors, the first two sets of doors on the left and right, and there are two more sets of doors, pairs of doors, and then the double doors at the end.
Anyway, yeah, let's keep this party boat floating. Step forward, door to the left, door to the right. What am I hearing?
You hear the sounds of crying coming from the left door, and then from the right door you hear the sounds of footsteps and twigs breaking as if somebody's moving and walking.
Do I know who's crying?
The crying sounds like it's coming from a female. You can't quite pinpoint who though.
Again, by dream logic, do I get the feeling that I've seen these memories before? That I've done this, you know?
Yeah, you've got an inkling as to what is behind the doors. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go towards the crying. I'll get it. Yeah.
And as you open that door,
Left or right?
it's the left door.
Okay, so left. Okay.
As you open that door and step in, you are in. Everything is very. You're in the tavern. You're in a tavern in Mythcrest. You're in the tavern of Mythcrest. The lighting in this particular dream area is very similar to what the previous dream area became, where all of the color is devoid around here. Everything is in a black, white, and grey. You are still 12 years old. You are wearing a dark-coloured suit. Your mother is stood next to you, also wearing a dark-coloured suit, with a stony expression on her face. Standing opposite you. In fact, no, you're not in the tavern. You're in the Church of Balance, is in Mythcrest. Standing.
That warps.
Yeah, sort of warps and changes.
Yeah.
Your brain's like, no, this didn't happen here,
Yeah.
and it shifts to the Church of Balance, where you find yourself stood on sort of one set of seats, and on the other set of seats you can see Greta and her mother and father. Her father quite badly bandaged up, missing an arm. And you can hear the sounds of bells chiming. Stood at the front of the Church of Balance are two priestesses. One dressed in all white robes with golden accents and slight hints of black in places, and the other dressed in all black robes with silver accents and little bits of white here and there. These are priestess of light and a priestess of dark, representing life and death. And as you instinctively turn to look down towards the entranceway to the church, you can see that there are people carrying a coffin down. Now, little Brahm recognizes these people as aunties and uncles. Older Brahm recognizes their vision is how they look is a bit fuzzy for you, but you can't pick out facial features because you've not seen them for a very long time. But your younger brain kicks in, that memory kicks in, and you can see your Uncle Manic, Auntie Jessen, are at the head of the coffin carrying it.
Just for the audience, so Manic is
a cat folk or a pantheri animal folk.
Yeah.
He has very very much lion-esque in appearance. His hair is more of a mane. He's got the cat slit eyes. The sort of like he's got a relatively large nose, but with the sort of like black bit that a cat has on the end of their nose. He has a tail that sticks out. He's wearing a full black suit. Jessen is an elven woman with long black hair that drapes down to, or would normally drape down to the lower part of her back, but it looks like it's all plaited up at the moment. And she's wearing like a wreath of flowers around, symbolizing herself to be probably either a high elf or a wild elf.
okay.
Not quite sure. One of the two, though. And she's wearing a long, flowing black dress. They're both carrying it, and then you can see there's other people behind. Not necessarily people that you quite recognise, but people that have made acquaintances with your parents in the past.
I think for dream logic, where it's just been like, I did not know who those people were, and so it's like the blank faces of,
Yeah.
Because again, sort of like for adult Brahm, where he's just like, right, yeah, Manic and Jessen clocked them. How well attended is I know we're sort of jumping around, how well attended is my father's funeral?
Fairly well attended. Solomon's there. There were a few other blank faces that dotted around all over the place, but the key figures are there. You do notice, adult Brahm notices, but kid Brahm would not have noticed this at all.
Yeah.
But there is a dark-skinned dwarf with short dreadlocks there, as Kimdak is also there.
I'm going to
At
take
the
a
back.
moment, you know, so like Bram like walking and then looking, because just that sort of thing. Like, I'm going to do an insight similar thing, like going to sort of like looking into the eyes of the man who murdered me, you know, just like, and yeah, again, because I know, folks, I know it's difficult because it's all a dream and it's 17, you know, just really sort of taking in this man.
There's no expression on his face. He seems to have no emotions towards what is happening here. Very, very stony look. But he sat next to Solomon.
And again, like the relationship between the two of them just
Seems perfectly fine.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
They don't seem to be... You don't get a sense of them being wary of each other or sitting far apart from each other or anything. They're just sat next to each other or standing next to each other at the minute. Everybody stood while the coffin's being brought in. But yeah, there's not
So
anything
Bram
that you're
is-
picking up on.
Yeah, Bram's quietly going, "Why are you here? Why are you here, Kim Dak?" Again, because this is all logical stuff that we're working out, but also in a dream where, frustratingly, this is all kind of fade into
But it's
mist.
more of
yeah,
a flittering moment
Yeah.
that you notice that he's there before your attention is instantly pulled back to
what
the
Baby
coffin,
Bram is looking
to what
at.
Baby
yeah,
Bram is
yeah.
looking at, and the coffin is placed onto a pedestal at the front of the church, and the priests, the two priestesses begin starting the sermon. Now, you don't remember any of the words that either of them said, but you know that they, at points, they both speak in unison, and at other points, they take it in turns, one speaking about life, one speaking about death. And the memory then shifts and alters as you are now outside, stood in a graveyard with snow falling down all around you. Your father's headstone presented with his coffin being lowered into the ground. Obviously, I know that you said that he had been cremated, but this is more of a sort of it's not his coffin that's been lowered into the ground, it's the jar that's been lowered into the ground. So obviously you wouldn't have all of his ashes in your necklace,
of
but
course,
you've
but
had bits of it taken out.
It's a very small, amount.
Yeah.
Of, like,
So he's been cremated, and both you and your mother are presented with a small pocket of his ashes, one for you from the light priestess and your mother from the dark priestess. And your father is lowered down into the ground. The urn is lowered into the ground and dirt is covered over it. And you can see on the headstone there is space for one other name.
Lil Bram's eyes flick up to his mother. I assume I didn't know that they were going to do that. But
No, you
See,
didn't know. As a child, you wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
It clocks a bit more that your mother would want to be buried with your father when she eventually goes. So,
Baby Bram is just sort of like illogically sort of like going, this isn't where he would want to. This isn't where he'd want to be, under the sky. He'd want to be in the forest. This is of all the places to end up. This is also timeline-wise where Bram's sort of the shielding is coming up now. That he's still, like I said in the Origins, where the lesson he learned was I could have done something if I had gone. And that is not the lesson Bram should have learned. But has my mother just been?
she's been silent the entire time. The entire time since your father's death, she's not really said anything. But while you're stood around the grave, your mother leaves you there and goes off, and the priestesses are talking to her, and you're stood there looking at your father's headstone. Again, everything is in black and white, snow falling down, when a very colourful hand slips its grip into yours as Greta, the only colourful thing in this entire dream, is stood next to you, tears running down her face.
I just sort of curve, like resting, because I think I'm kneeling, like looking at it, and then she's there, and I'm just. Is she still standing? Like my head's like resting against her side, just.
Yeah, you're just resting against the side, and she's
curved into her. Yeah.
Yeah, she puts her arm around you, and you're both just there in the moment, and you're pulled out of that moment and back in the hallway again with the door closed.
It was her. It was Greta crying then.
Greta was crying, yeah. But she was trying to comfort you.
Yeah. And then after that, that's one of the last times I saw her.
Yes.
Went off.
Yeah. And you're back in the hallway.
Guardians. Right. Finger pointing at the door to the right.
You walk towards the door on the right and you open it out. And again, you can hear the sounds of footfalls and twigs breaking. And as you step out into that area, you are slightly older. 14, 15 at this point.
Yeah.
Carrying quite a large load on your back. Combination of your own personal belongings and quest items, basically, you've been sent to retrieve. Things that have been, your mother has hunted and killed, boxes and items that people have requested. And your mother is in front of you, sort of power walking forward, and you're struggling to keep up, even though you've had a bit of a growth spurt at this point. Her stride is so long and powerful that you're struggling to keep up.
But I don't call out, I don't slow down, I'm following as best I can, yeah.
And you both walk and you appear in the village of West Hem, which is just before the Titans Pass. Your mother takes the bags off of you and the items and takes them to, basically finishes all the quests, goes around and hands all the items in and collects the coin needed, the coin rewarded for each of them, and then she pays for lodging for you. In fact, no, she doesn't pay for lodging. She keeps the coin and she walks out of the town, or out of the village, moving towards the Titans Pass.
We're not staying then?
We don't stay in the towns anymore. We camp outside.
Oh, right, Ma.
Your memory is a little bit fuzzy at this point, but you know that from the moment after your father's funeral, your mother took you out of Mythcrest and began basically just traveling around the north and parts of the south over those years. And although she was cold, she wasn't neglectful towards you. She always made sure you were cared for. Obviously, you're 14, 15 years old now, so when it comes to camping at night, you're not cuddling up or anything like that. But
so, did I get my father's bedroll, or was it?
Yeah, you've got your father's bedroll and stuff, and blankets and all of that. So it sounds like a bit of a harsh phrase, but waste not, want not sort of thing.
Completely understood.
In a sort of survival situation.
I think I'm also sort of if we're picturing Bram sort of, he's wearing his again, he's wearing the hat, but he's also wearing his father's coat and his father's boots, and because when he's fully grown, he's going to be taller than his father, but he's still at that point now where, and I assume the sentimentality of my mother has completely been outweighed by it's practical. You need boots. You need a good pair of trousers. So, rather awkwardly for her, I am basically dressed as a dead father. Yeah. But again, wearing the green hat rather than his cowboy hat. So it's a little bit. But yeah. I think I also think, like, me asking, do we stay in the town? Almost like, I don't think I actually had that conversation at that point because I knew, it is that sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking to her, but I think it is a lot of, like, silence. I also say that at this point he's built loot, correct?
Yep, loot.
Yep.
You've got the loot in hand, although your mother's told you a couple of times not to play it around her.
I don't play it by her. So again, I think I say to her, I'm going to go practice, and I'm practicing with a weapon, and then I'm also practicing with the loot.
The loot as well, yeah.
Sorry, I just was like going, here's some other stuff going on where you're like, and this is where you met this. Yeah, okay.
And as you make camp and you've gone off and you've practiced and you've come back, your mother's sitting around the fire, just sort of prodding at the ashes with a stick. And as you return, she looks up towards you. Again, that sort of there's no life in her eyes, sort of thing. And you need to get some rest. Long journey tomorrow. We're travelling down towards Mestus, and then we need to head west towards the swamp.
Do we have like a map of the continent?
You've got maps that are like a map of the northern half of the continent and a map of the southern half of the continent and all that sort of stuff. So you would know where you're going. You're going to a swamp town called Erethinis. This is only a pit stop because obviously you're too young for the actual staying there part of of your backstory.
But we are getting work there because, as I think I said earlier, his background's wanderer, and so part of that is a lot of like settlements and continents, and I think a large part of Bram's training has also been he's been taught like safe houses, and he's also like by this point he's learning like these are the major cities, this is the history, this is this. So I think that's the thing that after I have this conversation, I'm going to get my maps out and be like, right, so we're here. We're going here, sort of like charting it with his finger and being like, okay, we're moving this, and this is the roads, and that kind of like. She's very stoic, and Brahm, apart from his sneaky like music, is also quite stoic now. That he's going weeks without really having conversations. But again, as you said, it's not cruel. It's just that sort of. And I think he realizes he's like, right, the fun side of her that I saw when she played drums and joked that my father lifted her out of whatever
darkness she was in or whatever.
Yeah. And I think he also Bram's not stupid, and he's like, this isn't just I'm sad that my husband's died. It's like, right, you're going back to something that you were before, and I can't get you out of that, but I will stand by you. I'm not gonna. He has, in his very darkest moments, been like, should I just leave? Would she notice? And then he's like, yeah, of course she's going to notice, But yeah, right. So back in, right? Okay. Do you want me to take watch later, or?
Yes, you can take first watch. I'll get some sleep, and then I'll wake you up.
Yeah. Night, Ma. Sleep well.
She just nods her head at you. And you take the first watch, and the second watch comes along. She wakes you.
Wakes me up.
She wakes you up. Why did you fall asleep on watch? No, you
get in the river. Yeah.
You wake her up, and she takes the watch. And
this, folks, is also where we establish that Brahm lasts on very little sleep.
Yeah.
Where he's getting into bad habits again, because Tom's holding a mug, but similarly like going, cool, I've got a hot drink, I'm going to have to make this last like the 4 hours. Yeah. And
it's at one point during that night where you're asleep. It's probably 2 hours into your mother's watch, one of her watches. You take 2 hour watches at a time. And you begin to hear the faint sounds of sobbing come from your mother. You're asleep, or at least she thinks you're asleep.
Yeah.
She's letting her guard down a little bit. It's not the first time you've heard it. Won't be the last time that you hear it either. But as that core memory for Brahm, that your mother does have a weakness.
Yeah.
Your mother wasn't always heartless towards you after your father's death, but there was a side to her that was vulnerable.
But did she ever betray it? Like,
She never portrayed it to your face.
No.
But older Brahm, seeing this from a different perspective, can understand that better than what teenage Brahm could. Teenage Brahm was going through all of the emotions of puberty and, you know, maybe might have been a little bit selfish in some regards, like you would expect a teenager to be, and all of that sort of stuff. But
I also think time-wise that the letters I've been sending, I've stopped getting replies by this point.
You stopped getting replies whenever you go to the town. Whenever you always go to a different town, and you have a certain place where you'll tell Greta where you're off to, and then a letter will be there, sort of thing. Previously, but at this point, the letters have stopped.
Selfishly, again, Bram's like, well, she's moved on. That she never really cared, and when he looks back at that later, he's like, oh, you little snot. You know, just... but that's, where he's just... And that's the sort of thing where he's like being a sulky teen, but that also works because my mother is also being incredibly self-contained herself. But I think sort of like older Bram's like just, you know, kind of like sitting by his sleeping self. It's like, just talk to her. Just go, you know, just like slaps himself. Obviously he's a ghost. He's like, just tell her you love her. Just, you know, you idiot.
But little Brahm doesn't move. Teenage Brahm, teen Brahm doesn't move.
Teen Brahm. God.
You're pulled out of that dream, and you're back in the hallway. As you come back into the hallway and your vision centers as to where you are, you watch as a blurry figure forms at the end where the double doors are, and Hawthorne is stood there, and the other two doors that you would step left and right to next sort of fizzle and fade away, as do all of the other doors that you've already been through. And you can see Hawthorne is there looking at you. Doesn't have that cheeky, I'm going to mess with you grin on her face. Has a very serious look. And you can see as you step closer to the door, there's water falling underneath it and sort of coming into the corridor.
We don't need to do this, Hawthorne.
Just looks up at you.
In dream logic, is she fully a fox right now? Or is there, can I feel there's something else, you know?
No. She's not a fox. She is.
But again,
she's
in
not.
Dream... So is it the thing I'm seeing a form and my brain's saying fox, but my eyes are like, that's not a fox?
She's not in her fox form. Kind of. She's in...
Yeah.
She looks at you and she's more humanoid.
Right.
If anything, you would think that she's a Kitsun, which is a fox folk, a relative of the dog folk, the kindness, a relative of the kindness, but the foxes sort of, for some reason, didn't fall under that category as the kindness. You're not sure why.
Well, again, like in real world, where foxes are canine, but they're described as dogs who are running like cat technology. But yes, I think this is where I'm sort of like. So I that's the sort of thing where I'm like, I'm looking at a fox woman. Really.
Fox woman, yeah.
Still shorter than me, or kind of again. This is
No,
this is the
she's
first, yeah.
she's still shorter than you.
Mm.
Not by much though. She's quite tall, so she's taller than what Greta would be in her adult form. But she is probably, you're just over 6 foot, aren't you?
6'4".
6'4". So
I'm actually surprised. We keep being like, I keep hiding behind the other orcs, but Brahm is actually quite tall.
yeah, so you're 6'4". She's 6 foot, probably taller than you with her ears, or the same height as you with her ears.
With
But
sort of
we
sort of
count
big,
head height.
sort of pointed.
Yeah, she's got the big pointed fox ears. Her hair is black and white with grey strands in. Her skin itself is pale white. She's got the same inverted eye colours like you have, but opposite sides to you. She's got a big, bushy black and white tail that's sticking out. Everything else about her is humanoid, and she's wearing a long flowing dress with big sleeves, very intricate designs on that dress. Not really like patterns or pictures or anything, but there's lots of like leaves on there and like mountains and stuff sort of infused into the outfit, and the outfit itself is also black and white.
Is it the sort of feeling that I'm looking at a truer form? This is because I still don't know what Hawthorne is, but it's like, or is it like this is another trick, another disguise? Or...
Has a mask on her face as well.
Right, so I can see the eyes. So
you can
like
see the eyes.
Like, so fox mask again.
Fox mask, but you can see the ears sticking out over the top.
Makes sense why she's not talking.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And she reaches towards the handle of the door, twists it and opens it, and as she opens one door, the other one opens automatically with it, and you can see just a wall of water. The water, there's a little bit of water that's splashing in like on the floor level, but the rest of it is being held back, this big wall of water that you need to step into.
So it's just like, it is like a watery...
Just a wall, yeah. You can walk up to it and put your hand into it, and you pull your hand out and it's covered, and it's drenched.
Seawater.
Seawater, yeah.
I look at her and I'm just going, it's cruel.
She just stares at you. There's no... The look on her face, there's no sass whatsoever coming from her. Yeah. You'd normally expect a degree of piss-taking, basically, from her, but there is nothing. She is as stoic as your mother was when she looks at you. And she just gestures with her head towards the wall of water.
Just put the fist over my heart, tap it. Brave heart, Shatteroak, and step into the waves.
You step into the water, and the light of the corridor behind you instantly vanishes, and your ethereal form is floating in nothingness. You're able to breathe. There's nothing wrong with your ability to breathe. And you just look up and you can see the surface of the water, and bobbling there with blood pouring out of your chest is you. This is moments after you had been thrown off of the cliff, kicked off of the cliff by Kimdak, stabbed in the chest and thrown. You've landed in the water. Your shield, you'd hit the rocks on the way down. And the shield that you were wielding is shattered. Shatter shield. But your Shatteroak. Your oak shield is shattered. That's so many different names. But anyway.
Well, she was Shatter Shield.
She was Shatter Shield, yeah. You're Shatteroak because of your father.
Oh, because of my father, yeah. So when she said, you're my little Shatter Shield, it's like, I am. Yeah. She's possessive.
Literally.
But
your body looks broken and contorted in ways that you wouldn't... How your first time that you've seen this. This is the first time you've ever gone to that door.
Right.
First
I
time you're
assume I
having a
went to
memory.
the other two previously.
Yeah,
I never got
you
to this big
never
door,
got to that door.
Yeah.
It was always a
Yeah.
case of you went to go to that door, and then that hallway just extends larger, and you could just never reach it.
Yeah.
But this time you can get to it, and you have gone to it, and you've gone through it, and you're remembering that process of shit. I've been stabbed. Damn, my body looks horrible. I am broken. I'm dead.
Are my eyes still open?
Yes.
So I'm basically looking up into my own dead face.
Basically, yeah. And you watch as your blood is still pouring out of you, as you've not
fully.
You're still bleeding out, sort of thing. Your ethereal form watches as shadows begin to form in the water and begin to pull up as these webbed fingers begin to reach out towards your body and begin to tug at it and begin to pull it underneath. You can see that these are drowners that have been attracted by the blood and have begun grabbing your body, and some of them begun starting to try to bite at you, but they can't get through your armor. They do break parts of your armor away, and they tear at your clothes, and they're trying to break you apart, basically.
We're still in the river, so...
You're in the river. You're on the mouth of the river where it meets the ocean at this point, so you've drifted down a bit.
Being dragged out... Sorry, I'm being dragged out to sea, and the drowners are...
And the drowners are trying to grab at you, yes. Yeah. And it's at this point that you hear a voice that seems to echo throughout the entire... Sort of, it feels like to you that it's echoing across all of the sea. And the voice just says, "Leave him." And you watch as the drowners stop and then scurry away, leaving your body pulled under the water, but still floating there.
I guess I'm sort of swim up to...
You don't even need to swim. You just
there.
float
up. Float up. So I'm sort of like, so my head's sort of like cresting out of the water, but I'm sort of just... You can see one of your eyes is completely caved in. I mean, like your eye socket is crushed. Eye is non-visible. Okay.
But the other eye, as you get closer, you can see that brief flicker of life in there. You look dead, but there is that brief flicker, and you just hear a voice echoing around you again. It is not your time, Brahm Shatteroak. There are many things for you to do here. Many jobs for you, many people for you to see, to save. Many things for you. Destiny has a way of being fickle with death. We could claim you now, but there is a choice. You could choose to stay, fight what is coming, and then return to us. Or we could simply take you now, take you to your father, and leave those that you've left behind to die. What do you choose?
Again, this is where I just completely break the game by making another choice. And you're like, well, that's just it. Yeah, I think Ghost Brand... quite, I know it's a bit like we had with Hawthorne earlier, where it's like, it's weird that he's sort of like, he's stroking his own body, and he's like, I can still like feel it, and then so very softly he's like, you got other things to do, Brambles. She's still alive. You can find her. Come on. And I think the near corpse, in sort of like with literally his last breath, sort of is able to say, "Live," and then
You watch as that bubble comes out and it just carries the word live on it, and the waves begin to shake all around you, and your ethereal form is pushed away from your broken body, and you watch as this dark swirl begins to form like a whirlpool around your body, and you can see by looking at it your bones begin to crack and sort of reform into place. Your crushed eye socket heals back up, and as this is happening, you can see just above where you are this figure floating in the water, wearing the same black and white robes with the mask on their face, as they are moving their hands around, and this whirlpool is swirling around and basically healing your body. And as your healed body lies in the water, beginning to float back up to the surface, your armor is still damaged, your shield is still damaged, your hand is still damaged. This form, womanly form, shifts into that of a fox and pretty much jumps into your back and disappears there's like a ripple effect on your back as Hawthorne is basically merged with you, forming that pact, as it were. And as you float to the top of the water, you can see that a dark shadow on the surface sails next to you, as a large fishing boat has appeared. Now, fishing boats can still fish on these waters. They have to be very careful because of drowners, but they're more sturdy, so they can take the attacks to the bottom of the hull and stuff.
I assume they have bodyguards, like...
Yeah, they've got bodyguards and things, but yeah, you watch as you can hear muffled voices of, there's a body in the water, leave it for the drowners. No, this person could still be alive, let's get them out. And you watch as a net comes down underneath, sort of comes over where your body is, slops into the water and sinks down a bit, and then is pulled up underneath you and pulls your body out of the water. And at this point, your ethereal form is pulled with it, and you enter into your body. And this is like you're experiencing all of this for the very first time. This is the point where you can control Brahm properly. Basically, nearly over 2 hours into the session.
So Brahm opens his salt crusted eye, blood still staining.
He's got some weird. Are you okay, friend? Your eyes look very strange. He's wounded. Let's get some. Let's get the kit. Let's get the healing kit. Come on, we need to patch this guy up. Take him back to Silverport. Sail back to Silverport. Come on.
I need to help someone. Someone needs my. Brahm tries to sort of get up and almost falls back into the sea because in his.
Whoa!
No,
back.
No, where's she? Where's she?
Where's who?
I don't. Her. Where am I? What?
You're on a fishing boat, friend. We just fished you out of the water. We're sailing back to the town of to the village of Silverport.
Silverport. Bram's mind kind of starts going over trivia. I said being taught, and it was the main thing is it's on the it's on the eastern coast. Silverport, right? Look at the fisherman. Thank you, friend. Thank you for saving me. Was there a ship? I can't remember why I'm here. Was there? There might be someone else. A woman on the ship.
No ship around. Just you floating in the water, friend.
All right.
Come on, let's get you sat up, and they prop you up. Let's get you some food and some water. Come on, and they bring some food and water out as one of them brings a healer's kit out and begins patching up your wounds. Oh, that's a pretty nasty stab you've got right there. Patch you up.
Yeah,
that looks fatal. You're lucky to be alive.
Someone must have been looking out for me. Silverport. Yeah, just to kind of like, I think at that point kind of like passes out again.
Yeah.
Having like that last bit of like, I'm going to go back in the sea kind of exhausted him. You just, passes out.
You pass out again,
Yeah.
and that sort of mist feeling takes over, and it comes back, and it's a couple of days later, probably about a week later. You're a lot more healed up and recovered, and you are dressed and ready to travel. The fisherman that you've been staying with is kind of going along the lines of, you're more than welcome to stay for as long as you want, Brahm. You're more than welcome.
What's the fisherman's name?
His name is Jeddah.
Kind of like, no, thank you, Jeddah. Josh, I'm going to do it again. What's his wife's? Does he have a wife?
No, it's just him.
Just yeah. No, okay. So no,
He's a much older fisherman. He was probably he was the other crew of the ship have families and stuff, but he's the only one that doesn't. He's an older crew member, not the captain, but an older crew member. His wife had passed away a long time ago, and he lives on his own. So he had the space to put you up, basically.
No children.
No children, no. At least no children that live in Silverport.
Yeah.
And not anything that he's ever sort of gone into with you.
I think I would have polite. You know, again, I keep saying Bram's incredibly polite and would have stayed up. Would have, bless Jeddah, would have been like, I've got a bottle of whiskey, and Bram's like, yes, I will drink with you, and would have stayed up and would have tried to be. I've got a feeling they wouldn't let me go out on the boats, but would have helped, and also because I know we haven't really got into this, but Brahm has learnt a lot of cooking from his father and from travelling, and has been sort of like, as we're going to see with Brahm later, will have gone and been like, I will make sure, I will help cook the food, so when the fishermen come back in, and, you know, so that's the thing. So he's kind of felt that he's paid a portion of his debt off to this town by working for them, but yes. So if we're going back, no, thank you, Jeddah. I'm going to be honest. I really do need to sort of find out why exactly I was in that water. I've lost a lot of memory, but I do have memories of other people.
Well, you said you'd said something before about your mother being in Mythcrest, I believe it was.
Mythcrest. That's also where my father's buried. If we.
Oh, okay.
No, it was longer.
You should go there and pay your respects. Then your mother must have wanted to be close to him, so
yeah.
Go there and see if you can find her.
If anyone, yeah. Like, again, sort of like playing Brahm, but like the ghostly version of Brahm in the back of his head. It just go, mention Solomon, say Solomon. You could speed things up, and then actual Bram's like, there's also an older gentleman who used to help my family. I think I might be able to. He has a home up north. I'll go.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. You've lost a year and a half of memory to the point where that year and a half hasn't passed for you at all.
I don't think it occurs to me. Like, I haven't
it doesn't occur to you, and you don't say any dates or anything to anybody. So they're not. Oh, hang on a minute, you're missing a year and a half of time. So that whole year and a half is basically just erased for you.
I think it's the sort of thing like going, because sort of like I've moved to the other side of the continent, and it's like it's sort of like it's almost like the difference between like spring and autumn, where you're like, it's cold. It's like the season hasn't quite, and he's also had a lot going on. Where he's just it hasn't occurred to him. I take Sam, and sort of like, thank you. That was
thank you for all of your help. If you ever need anything, just come back to you'll always have a room here at Silverport. So please feel free to come back whenever you want.
Thank you, friend. I'm very grateful. I just sort of like, again, like clutching his hands, sort of like that, kind of. But, thank you. Kind of I'm trying to think of like. It's a bit like in our world, we would say like God be with you, but that's sort of like I'm kind of like I try to give him like it's the sort of blessing you would have.
You would have known from the work that you've done with him over the week. Like you said, you've not been on the ship, but you would have been more of a sort of helping unload the ship when it docks back in again, and helping to prepare food and stuff. So you would be well versed in the. And your mother would have taught you this anyway, and it wouldn't be something you would have forgotten. But you know about all of the different guardians, and you know that fishermen would worship the sea guardian Renvia. So any sort of prayer or anything, it'd be like "May the seas guide you" sort of thing. Would be.
I sort of like sort of like take his hands and like, "May the sea guide you, and may your nets be always full of fish." You know.
Thank you, Bram. It's very kind of you. I know. I'm terrible with the goodbyes, so please leave before I get you to stay.
No, but I won't forget your kindness. Thank the captain. So like Bram very quickly like lists off the other people that he's had probably not as much of a relationship with, but like lists the other crew members.
I'll tell the crew that you've appreciated everything that they've done. Don't worry.
Tips his hat. As we said, that all Bram really had was the broken shield and the mace. His rucksack is assumed lost at sea, along with the loot and whatever like little trinkets he had.
You still have the shield.
I still have the shield, but it is
broken.
Shattered.
Yeah,
it's a broken shield. He's like, that's not going to be very useful, but still, like, straps it. Like, as I said, his left hand was pretty badly mangled, so it's still very much in the glove. It's not the glove that he's wearing currently, because he's been to other places and got, like, I need this being fixed.
Got new items and things.
Yeah, but that's sort of thing. I think if the town have given me... I think he's got, like, a little... Like, he's got a travelling sack that
your armor is still quite heavily damaged, but they've given you new sort of underclothing to wear, so your underclothing is repaired, but your armor is heavily damaged. It's got cracks and massive chips off of it. As you walk out of Silverport and travel along the road, you're quite close to the ruins of Aeodrun, which was the capital city of the kingdom once before, and is now home to the undead that basically swarmed the kingdom during the Rising. So there is a couple of instances where you have to hide because there are undead roaming around.
We can't far too many up in a tree. I need him to leave.
Far too many for you to take on your own.
No. And I think in my time of traveling, where like I've seen with my mother, where she's been like, you do not, especially if you are alone, you do not take them on. You know, they're stupid. You're not stupid. And you are...
They're stupid, but they overwhelm you quickly with their numbers.
One, you could take, but they're a horde. They're a pack, you know, sort of... Because I grew up fighting wolves, and bears, I'm like, I know what pack tactics is. And so, a lot of nights being like, cool, especially because I'm alone, get up in a tree, stay in the tree. Yeah.
But you travel, and just as the mists begin to take you and you begin to shift to another part of this memory, a small little fox just appears next to you and begins giggling. For the first time you've ever seen Hawthorne. Hi.
Oh.
I'm your friend.
Are you now?
Yep.
Hello, worthy traveller.
My name is Hawthorne.
Good to meet you, Hawthorne.
You're Bram. Oh, no, sorry, you're Abraham.
No, my friends call me Bram. I mean, you can call...
Well, I'm definitely going to call you Bram, whether I'm your friend or not. But I'm going to be your travelling companion for the foreseeable future, so, hi.
Hello. Hello, Hawthorne. I'm not going to lie, I'm surprised. This is an interesting turn of events. It, like, blinks his eyes and I'm looking into these foxy eyes. All right. look. I am assuming there's a lot more going on here that's beyond my ken, right?
Oh yeah, you'll figure things out as you go along.
Good.
But you need to get to Mythcrest, friend.
That was where I was heading. I'm glad to. You okay walking? Do you want? I don't want to be insulting to you, but do you want me to carry you?
No. I don't want you to carry me. I will ride you though.
He just climbs up, and I've just got this. Right.
Yep, I'm just gonna sit here and sit on your shoulder. No weight whatsoever.
No. Right.
Forward.
Ram moves with slightly more pep in his step
as the mists take you, and then sort of reform, and you're in the town of Mythcrest. It's been a number of weeks, maybe a couple of months since you left Silverport, and you've had consistent travel up to Mythcrest, and you enter into the town and instantly make your way to the Solomon's apartment, expecting your mother to be there, expecting lots of things. Going through the door, you can see that there are letters just strewn all over the floor, all of them written in your handwriting.
Oh, God. Oh, damn it. Gather it up. It doesn't look like anyone's been here in, well, definitely as long as I've been sending letters.
No, doesn't look like anybody's been here for a while. There is a thick layer of dust over everything, basically.
Are they? Because I assume because the letters aren't opened, the envelopes or have it sent. Are they dated?
They're all dated. If you were to look through all of the letters, you would find that they're all from you. They all date up till. Hang on, Josh is thinking here. They're all dated up till, in terms of what Brahm can't remember, they're dated up till about 3 months ago.
Yes. Because
but when you see the date is when you think, hang on, the date's wrong. The date in the year's wrong. And then, but before that thought can sink in, you spot some familiar handwriting that isn't yours, and you find one letter that is addressed to Solomon, and it is older, but looks to be Greta's handwriting.
Right. I mean, it's very rude and it's not right, but I'm sure she'll forgive me. Open the letter.
You open the letter.
Yeah.
And it says, "Dear Mr. Solomon, we've settled into Grimport quite nicely.
Grimport.
And mother and father have opened a small herbalist shop. We've been gathering a lot of the herbs locally. There's not an awful lot of variety around, but we're making do with what we can. We're getting a lot from the traders. We would be very grateful for a small shipment of some herbs that we can't get up north, if that's possible." And there's a list of things that flowers and things that she wants, that her parents require, and she says if this letter does not reach you, we will send another letter to Merkstead. And
right.
And then she signs off Greta Lighthoof.
Right. Okay. Grimport, Merkstead, Grimport. Okay. Right. Kind of gathers up his letters, and then sort of takes them out, puts them like chronologically. Puts Greta's.
Greta's in terms of chronological order. If you were to put all of yours in chronological order, Greta's fits near the beginning of your letters, probably like the 5th or 6th letter. It fits in there.
And I think, so looking through my letters, it is mostly me saying, "Hello, do you know where my mother is?" Right?
Up until a year and a half ago, they're all just letting Solomon know where you both are and all of that sort of stuff.
Okay, so how far? So some of this is me writing it when I was traveling with my mother.
Yes.
How far back is that? So
That goes back to the day not the day you left, but around that year.
So
that sort of year.
Years and years.
Years and years of letters.
He hasn't been back in. So
he's not been back to Mythcrest since then.
8 years? 7 years, I think, because I'm about 19 at this point.
Yeah, at the point of the main campaign, it's been 12 years since your father died.
Yes.
And at this point, you've just lost your memory, and it's 5 years before the main campaign, so that would work out as 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's not been back here in 7 years.
7 years. Right. Okay. Grimport. I find, but again, this is like it's old. She might have. Well, again, so like he's talking, but he's also like talking to Hawthorne, who might, because as I said, he started learning. She's always there.
Hawthorne's going, Grimport sounds like a good place to go. Sounds very nice. I mean, who would name their town Grimport? Huh.
I mean, from my understanding, it is pretty grim. It's not.
You're funny.
I try.
Idiot.
Yeah. So it's not. It's on the east coast. So
yeah.
Right.
Not the west coast.
Or the north. I mean, mountains. Anyway, so
northeast, if you want to get technical.
And I do. So I need to.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have my. Does Solomon have maps?
Oh yeah. Solomon would have maps around. Again, it would be split into that north and south sort of segment, and then desert.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if the kobolds are going to put it up, but I think if we're looking at the maps, this is what Bram. So Bram's like, right, I'm here and traveling, and so he's like, right, Grimport, I can draw. I also assume I have not stopped anywhere long enough to get my armor fixed or my shit. I'm still traveling around in battle.
You haven't got the coin for it.
Well, yeah, I've lost it. I haven't got anything.
Yeah.
Okay. I get to Grimport. I find the light hoofs. They might know. Well, at least my godparents. They'll help me.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds good. Wouldn't they be your guardian parents?
That's also true. I think. Even if it's like a very ancient phrase. Above table, did you know that goodbye is God be with you? That's what the origin is. Yeah, that's.
I think I've heard that before, actually. Yeah.
So, but we still say. But I like someone was talking about. It's like going. It's like the Tolkien version and the Pratchett version, and the Tolkien version being like, oh, it's translated. This is like put it into a different language, like how common isn't actually English. And then the Pratchett version is like, oh no, it means good be your eyes, and it just happens to sound like. But yes, actually, I think sort of having. I think we've said godparents previously, but I think he would even just say guardian. So they'll be my guardians, so I can at least.
Guardians is in guardians, or guardians is in they'll look after you if something happens to your family, sort of thing. Because if so, they've not done a very good job.
They had their own issues last time.
Oh yeah, right. Not all issues.
He lost his arm last time we were here.
Oh, he's armless then, isn't he?
I'm not laughing at that, Hawthorne.
You hear?
How?
I'm terrible.
Anyway. Okay. Yes. I mean, I don't have money. I've been sleeping rough. I'm gonna. Again, it's not his proudest moment. He's gonna kind of raid this house for whatever he can get.
There's not any food.
No.
There you can find some basic traveling clothes, so like bedroll and all of that sort of stuff. You would have been given a rudimentary bedroll from Silverport, but this is more geared to people who are going to travel long distances. Another rucksack that you can take, or backpack.
which I think now, as we're looking into, is the one that Brahm is going to be wearing when we see him in a few years.
And some tenting bits as well. Not to put up like a full scale tent, but the whole, similar
like we
thing.
had earlier with
like you had earlier.
So like he's, and again, it occurs to him, it's like, oh yes, this is it's almost like the same gear that his parents had. And he's like, yeah, well, I know that that's what you use, sort of. He takes it, sort of like, I think from going from what I said at the beginning, he actually has a bath now, where he's just like, enough to be able to just actually wash off,
Wash off all of your
the week's worth of travel, and also sort of like, I think, I mean, it's not like some iodine, but like sort of like enough like antiseptic stuff that is probably going off, but does better than anything. So works on his cuts, his grazes.
Yeah.
I realised because there's a height difference, but it's like socks are socks, so he's able to like.
They're
change.
massive. They're massive on you because obviously his feet are so much wider.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do that. You also do have like a little look around. You do find enough coin for you to purchase some rations for the road. But not enough to get any gear or anything repaired.
just enough to sort of like fix things up and to. And I've gathered the post together and written another letter which says, Dear Mr. Solomon, I'll start by saying this is Brahm Shatteroak. I never forgotten the kindness that you showed me when I stayed with you. I must confess that I have procured some items and also made use of your bath while I was here. Do know by the honour of my name and the deeds of my parents that I have full intention of repaying you. I also must confess that I have currently, in trying to solve the mystery of my missing mother, I realise that you have not returned here in many years, but I am intending to find her. I also have read a letter from Miss Lighthoof stating that you are currently probably in the south. Simply to state that is my intention of finding you and returning my stolen items. I hope that you are well, and that hopefully I might be able to express my gratitude in person. I am also heading to the town of Grimport to the east to find my guardians, the Lighthoofs. Yours, benedictions and kindness, Abraham Shatteroak.
And you easily find the address of where Simon's staying in Merkstead, so you can seal that letter up and post that on your way out of the town.
Yeah. Dear Mr. Solomon, I have robbed you.
You have been robbed.
Yeah. I heard that. That son of a gun has robbed me. First things, Tally, it turns out he's not dead. Second of all, he's a crook. Did I break in?
No.
How did I get in?
You would know where the key is.
I thought I lifted the flower pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, yes, it's an apartment, but it's like one of those sort of like I think it's more of an American thing where there's like a person that's on the door sort of thing. And you walk in and say Brahm Shatteroak for Solomon's, and they're like, oh, and you're on the list of names that can. Exactly. Obviously, why would Solomon remove your name if he thinks you're dead, sort of thing? So takes it and so it gives you the key, sort of thing. So it's like that sort of situation. But
it also makes sense that, like, because I've been saying, like, Brahm has a mental list of like safe houses that the mercenary guild, as was probably Solomon, probably owns lots of properties in lots of the major.
It does take you back a little bit when you go to sign your next to your name, because you do see that your father's name is on there. He's not removed it.
Right.
As is your mother's name is also on there. But
and I assume that my other aunties and uncles are there.
Their names are all on there, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, folks, we're going to get into, I think when we get in later where Brahm starts discovering more things like this, but sort of like when Brahm will flash back, well, he won't really remember this later, but being like, oh look at this list of names. Once again, assume that there are names that are. Is his family on the list?
Whose family?
Yeah, Solomon's.
Yes,
So-
both Tally and Lilla's names are on there. Yeah.
So, yes, I'm thinking back where Brahm wasn't surprised to, but he's sort of like, yeah, he's like, okay, he's got, because I stayed in what would have been Lilla's room, I assume.
Yeah.
Or no, it would have been I stayed in a younger person's room when I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it
I
would
was
have been
like,
Tally's room.
yeah. So I know that he has family.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Right. Brahm stores that away in the part of his brain where he's like, okay, it's that sort of thing of like going, I get, folks, this is something that we've been trying to talk about, like Brahm being more sort of like, not criminal, but conniving. And this is part of it, where like that his father's taught him, like if you learn, people love it when you know their names. So Bram's storing away, and he's like, right, these are names of people I don't know. But then if I hear, I'm like, oh yes, you know Solomon. I can use that. Solomon. I think Brahm also sort of, he hasn't worked out that Solomon would know he's dead, but he's also like, I think also like going back to the letter, he's like saying his missing mother and saying that he had an incident, because Brahm thinks he had a sailing accident, that they were sailing to the east, and explains it. Anyway, so having taken, I think that's the thing, spending the money to get some rations, to get,
and posting the letter off. And as you leave Mythcrest, the mist forms around again, and the memory shifts and the dream shifts, and you are in the town of Grimport. It's been a few weeks since you left Mythcrest. You've entered into the town. This town is, as the name suggests, grim. There's a lot of sludge and snow. This area, because it is on the storm coast, it gets battered by a lot and is on the northeastern side of the storm coast as well. Has very little protection from from when storms are brought from the north. So when it's snowing and rain mixed together, you get a lot of sludge in this town, and there's a lot of traffic here as well. A lot of similar to what we've seen in the main campaign with Merkstead, where there's a lot of people trading and all of that sort of stuff. This is this is probably the major port town in northern Idorune. And lots of ships and cargo and all of that sort of stuff is brought in and shipped around and all of that sort of stuff. And you have been in the town for a couple of hours, and you've been asking around for where, if anybody knows the Light Hooves, and you've been directed towards a herbalist shop. And as you get there, unfortunately, the shop is closed. Not boarded up, but it is empty. There's nobody there.
Is there still things like in the shop? Or is it like
there's still indications that they owned the shop, but there's no stock or anything there.
So it's just empty shelves.
It's just an empty shelves, yeah.
Right. I'm gonna start asking around the other shops.
You go into the shop next door, which is like a little cafe, and they greet you and say hello. And you're looking for the Light Hooves?
Yeah, no, they're my family friend.
Lovely people. Unfortunately, you've missed them by quite a bit. They moved away a very long time ago, actually.
Oh, gracious! How long?
Oh, I want to say, my memory's a bit foggy on it, but I want to say at least 5 years ago. I think
5 years.
Yeah, they've travelled back up here every now and then to as they've slowly. The shop itself is only just officially shut. They left it open for a little while and rented it out to somebody who was operating it as a herbalist, as a herbalist shop. But there was recently some stuff that happened, and they've had to close it.
I don't want to pry. What sort of stuff?
Oh, I'm not 100% sure. I never really I didn't speak to them when they came back. I just know that they had some family business they needed to deal with and had to close and sell the shop.
Oh, that's a real shame. Again, I don't wish to pry. Have you any idea where they might have gone?
I'm afraid I don't. No,
Okay.
I couldn't tell you if they left by ship or by cart.
Oh, gracious. Well, thank you. This is also, it's a cafe and a bakery, right? So
It's a cafe, yeah.
yeah. Bram doesn't have much money, but I think he buys like, I want to say like an apple turnover or something.
Yeah.
Like, so he's like,
Well, what one now?
yeah. So Bram buys a pastry, thanks the shop tips, you know.
Oh,
sort of
thank you. You're so generous. Thank you very much.
No, well, I appreciate.
Apple turnover is lovely, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Nice and fluffy,
So I
filled
think,
with cream, and it reminds you of that moment with the pancake when you were children.
yeah. I think we're now sort of like cutting to Bram eating the turnover, like can't quite sit on a wall because everything is snowy and grim, but you know, just to have a moment of like eating and right.
As you're eating that apple turnover, you feel something tugging at your armor.
Mm.
As you turn, there's a small little fiend fallen boy looking at you, big orange eyes looking straight up at you. His horns sort of come out of his forehead, circle round sort of the shape of the top of his skull and up into a point, but they're quite small. And he's looking at you, go, "Hi, are you Mr. Brahm?"
Yeah, I'm going to make an insight because again, Bram's not. I keep saying Bram's not stupid, and Bram also just goes, "Cool. I don't think I've got any debts, but I also don't remember the last year and a half of my life." He's also sort of like a little bit like, "Well, no one seems to." 7.
I mean, you notice that this boy's carrying a satchel, but a quite large one. But other than that, seems innocent enough.
Yeah. No.
Stabs you in the back.
Yeah, straight into the wound. So I have it on both sides. Yeah, no, I'm Bram.
Yeah, oh, cool. Oh, that's good. I was told that I needed to give a letter to an orc wearing a red scarf with a hat on his head and with a very sad look on his face. And you fit that bill perfectly.
I didn't realise that sad face was going to be
I couldn't find any other orcs around here wearing a red scarf. So, hi.
Hello. Sorry, what's your name?
My name. I was about to say Jeddah again.
Yeah. My name's also Jeddah.
My name is Jeddah. What? There's a Jeddah in every town.
It's quite a good common name. It's like John. Yeah.
My name's Oscar.
Nice to meet you, Oscar.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
I've got a letter for you. I was told that I needed to deliver it to you and to you specifically.
Oh.
Or if I couldn't find you, I was to hand it in at the tavern to see if you were there. Or yeah.
I don't want to.
Or had a note in to say that there was one at the postal service for you.
Right. When did you get given this letter?
I got given it today.
But it might have been around for a while.
I have no idea.
Anyway,
I don't know how it works.
I'm
12. I just delivered the letters.
That's fair, Oscar. I shouldn't be asking you questions. Goes into his pocket for some change and kind of does the exchange of like.
Oh, thanks, Mister.
That's all right. Oscar.
Oh, very nice of you. That'll get me a nice little bit of candy, some nice sweets. That will. I was about to say candy. That'll get me some nice sweeties.
You have a good day, Oscar.
Yeah. See you later. Bye. And he sort of runs off and toddles away. Yeah. Splashes in some puddles as he goes.
Again, we're establishing Bram, a tipper. Being taught. Even that's the thing. Even if you don't have enough money, you still tip.
Yeah.
Looking at the letter at the outside.
Not a handwriting that you initially recognise.
Right. And it just says Bram.
It says Brahm Shatteroak.
Right. Look at the back. Is it sealed? Is it wax sealed or?
There is a wax seal on it. Yeah.
Oh, what's the seal?
The seal is of a. Oh, that's a good question. It is of a. It says SMC in a circle.
Right. So I saw Solomon doing letters, but I didn't see him sealing it with the SMC yet. But again, I think he can start to vaguely go because he sent the letter weeks ago and said, "I'm going here." So he's like, so he pops the seal.
pops it, opens it, and you are correct. It is a letter from Solomon. The letter basically says, I'm glad to hear that you're alive.
Well,
I'm interested to know how you managed to get yourself to Grimport.
Yeah.
The Lighthoofs aren't in Grimport anymore. They moved to Merkstead some time ago. It seems like you might have some problem with your memory, but that's something we can talk about when you get here. You'll need to get a boat from Grimport to come down to Merkstead. Unfortunately, I have no contacts up there that can provide you with the money to get safe passage, so you're going to have to find your own means to do it. But I look forward to seeing you, and will tell Greta that you're safe. Kindly, Solomon.
Good. Yeah. Bram has like a mix of emotions, where he's like, first of all, no mention of my mother in that. That's worrying. Second of all, Greta's alive. That's something. Because when they were like, oh yeah, there's been an issue, I was like, I swear to God, if Greta's dead, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I should also state for the audience that this entire dream sequence, other than when Bram was a child, has happened over 5. So from the moment he's been in the water up until this point, has happened over the course of 5 years.
Yes, sort of
4.5 years.
Yes, since it. So he's been traveling around.
Yeah.
Actually, so that's the thing. So he came off. So I've spent 5. So I've spent 5 years just. What have I spent again? Because if I was heading north, how has it taken me 5 years to get?
You've got sidetracked along the way, doing other things, other little adventures that we might explore in other little one-on-ones. You know, you've helped various. You're the sort of person that wants to help people, and you'll stop. I basically got you from in this thing with the whole dream thing.
Yeah.
You've gone from Silverport to Mythcrest.
Yeah,
we skipped over both the farmstead of Toth, which is right next to Silverport, Mistgrave, Rosechapel, Mestus, Titan's Pass, and Westhelm. So they're all places that you would have stopped at and, rested at along the way, along with resting on the road on the way up. So there's plenty of things that would sort of extend that time outwards.
I like to think, because we said we haven't really fixed the armor, it's like he's had like minor fixes, and then it's got broken again. He just hasn't stopped long enough to be able to
little bits of patchwork. But and then other people might argue, well, why isn't Brahm a higher level from all of this sort of stuff? It's more of a case of you've been focused on where you're going, and you're not earning experience, so that's why you're not a higher level.
I haven't been I've been doing small tasks. It's a bit like when people have been talking about like if your character was like a soldier, and it's like, because when you're at war, you're not like killing big monsters as you do. There's a few, and I think it also explains now. And you go, why isn't he high level? It's like, he was level 2 when he went into the water, and now he's level 3. It's taken him a few years of working.
He's definitely leveled up.
Just gained a level in Warlock for obvious reasons. Yes. Yes, an older, more experienced Brahm. He's like, and again, it's like the fact it's like I haven't got the money. It's like. It's not surprising, especially now what we've just said, that Bram's been used to being like, I can scrape together stuff and... Alright, okay, so... I'll go to the docks. I'll go see what we can... See if everyone needs a sailor.
Yeah, so you make your way down to the docks. There's a number of different ships down there. But there's one ship that stands out to you in particular. It's very finely crafted, but there doesn't seem to be much traffic coming to and from it as there is from other ships. There is cargo and things being offloaded, but a lot of the other ships are bigger and busier. And it's got the tag next to it called the Golden, like the name of it is the Golden Maiden. Or just Golden Maiden.
Golden Maiden. What's the figurehead?
The figurehead of it, there isn't one actually. It doesn't have a figurehead.
Just a figurehead.
No figurehead.
And nothing, no sort of signifier on the sails.
not of anything. The sails are just sort of
Canvas,
patchworky, a bit sort of like patchy and all that sort of stuff. There is a flag that's flying on it, and it does show the symbol of the sea maiden Renvia as a mermaid sitting on a rock, all in. It's like the way, you know, when you just draw a picture and you don't color it in or anything, it's just that outline.
Yeah.
It's like that, but slightly thicker and golden, and it's
Okay.
just that on the flag.
So that's the Golden Maiden. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say mermaid and stuff, it's not like a really sultry
No.
sort of pose. She's got her back to, she's sitting on the rocks with her back to you, sort of thing.
So the back of a woman with
Back of a woman,
fish tail.
yeah.
Yeah.
Back of the mermaid.
Yeah. Approach. Try and are they? Did you say are they loading or kind of?
They're unloading some small crates and things, and you can see there's a finely dressed man with a big sort of hat with a feather sticking out of the top who's directing everybody around. So, yes, that needs to go over there. We've got some people coming down for these bits in a moment. We need to make sure that we leave some space for this cargo to go on. Our next journey is down to the town of Merkstead, so we need to make sure that we have plenty of space because we've got some stuff to pick up from there before we then travel down round to take the dangerous trip round to Abercathus. So we need to make sure that we've got plenty of stock on board.
I'm trying to sort of like I'm not trying to interrupt, but to be sort of like to get his attention.
You managed to get his attention easily enough. He turns up. Oh, hello there. Sorry, you have to excuse us. We're a bit busy at the moment, but
that's part of what I want to talk to you.
Okay, yes,
Captain. My name's Brahm Shatteroak. Did you say you were sailing to Merkstead?
Yes. We'll be setting off from Merkstead in about 5 days' time.
I was hoping that I might be able to work passage on your ship. I need to head to Merkstead. I'm a hard worker. I don't eat much. I don't snore. So I was hoping I might.
I mean, it's definitely good that you don't snore. Unfortunately, Bram, was it? Sorry.
Yeah, Bram.
Sorry. Unfortunately, I don't actually have any space for another work hand. I've got plenty of those, but I mean, I'm more than happy to take some coin to take you down there and have you as a passenger.
Yes. So, how much would passage be?
50 gold.
50.
50 gold seems reasonable enough as a passenger.
I'm as I said, I'm happy to work.
Your armor looks a bit knocked up. I've got no work for you, unfortunately. I've got plenty of crew for that.
Do you have a harpooner, sir, for the drowners? I'm willing to fight.
We're a big old ship. We don't need we don't have to worry about that too much. So that's fine. Any of my guys can jump on the ship, jump on the weapons and prod them off if they do get a bit leery. But they tend to stay away from us bigger ships.
Fair. 50 gold, and you're sailing.
50 gold, yes.
What tide you sailing? 5 days.
5 days, yes.
5 days. Yes. Where will you be lodging, sir? I would like to work my way, but as I said, I can get the money, hopefully.
I'm staying at the Grim Inn.
The Grim makes sense. Sorry, I don't believe I caught your name.
It's Captain Dawson.
Dawson. Off my hand.
He shakes your hand.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Grim Inn, I will bring you that money then. Thank you.
Brilliant. I mean, I don't mean to make assumptions here, Mr. Shatteroak, but your armor's not in the best condition. How do you intend to get yourself the money?
I don't fully. I have some skills. My father was a performer. I kind of like a little bit like. I'm going to do another insight because Bram doesn't want to confess to crimes, but 21. 21. Basically, he's trying to work out how would this reputable man react to basically if Bram was like, I intend to scam my way into getting the money.
You can't. It's a difficult thing for you to be able to tell from somebody you've just met. You don't quite know where their morals stand, because for all you know, this guy could be a pirate.
Yes.
So you don't know if they are honourable and you tell them this and they're going to go straight to the guard,
Yeah.
or if they are going to just be, oh yeah, sure, why not? But you do get a sense that there is something about what you've said that has him intrigued.
Sort of like I travelled with my parents, and my father was always able to bring coin to the table for entertainment. And
oh, well, that's good. I might see you in the tavern then. We can definitely use some entertainment in that tavern. It's a bit grim. Excuse the pun.
No, I will.
I have a suggestion, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Well, I can see that I know your armor is a bit battered and all of that, but I can see that you are armored and you have a shield and a pretty nice looking mace there. There is a little thing here called the arena that you could enter into as a little fun sportsmanship of smashing each other's faces in, or doing some objectives or something like that. I think for your particular loadout that you have at the moment, you'd be more fighting, I suppose.
Yes, so I can handle.
I'll tell you what,
myself.
actually. If you enter yourself into the arena, we're planning on going there tonight, actually. If you enter yourself in there and you can show me that you can fight, I'll knock off some money off of the entry price, of the fee for taking you down there. Because then I will employ you as a security. I don't know you from Adam, so I need to see your skills if you want to be a
point over at the
guard.
guy. Hello, it's me, Adam.
Goes, I'm Adam.
Right, nice to meet you, Adam. Yes, sir. I kind of Bram puffs himself up a little bit because he's like, that. This makes sense. He's like, of course, sir. You want to know? I'll see you this evening then. They'll take me.
I'm sure they will. They're looking for fighters at the minute. There's apparently a champion there who's not been beaten, so they're looking, and not many people want to take him on. So if you want to do that and earn a bit of gold,
that's a power. Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your.
Don't call me sir. Call me captain.
Sorry, captain. Turns on his heel and is like, okay.
And he
walking is like, yeah.
Tips his hat towards you as it sort of fades again, and you are.
As we quite hear Bram go, I don't know where I'm going.
He'll give you directions to where it is, and you end up in the arena basically. And at the reception desk, you were told that there are different categories that you could fall into. That you could choose to enter in as a warrior, and warriors tend to do more of the fighting sort of stuff. You could enter in as a rogue, and if you enter in as a rogue, you would be more inclined to do more objective-based tasks. Or you can enter in as a mage, where you would be required to fight or do puzzles with the use of magic. Now, there's no magic emanating from you, so you're instantly struck off from doing that. There is also a fourth category where it's more unarmed, bare-knuckle fighting. That is also presented to you as well. So which one would you like to sort of fit yourself into?
I kind of go, I don't want to be too assumptive, but I hear there's an unbeaten champion here.
Oh, you'd like to fight the champion? Oh, that's amazing. Yes, we'll definitely sign you up for that. We're looking for fresh blood for that fight.
Is there again, to be honest, is there a loser's fee?
Yes, we pay a small fee to the losers.
Can I ask how much?
Conveniently, it is 50 gold pieces.
Oh yeah, Bram's already broken his hand and been stabbed in the chest. What's the worst thing? That's a lot of money, and I think that goes to show where they're like, it's like
this is the gladiator games in the world is like what football, British football, is like for the rest of the world. It's like the money maker.
I think it also is the good thing where it's like, we're going to pay well. They're not gonna hold back, that, right? So if you're going in, but But yes, Bram's like, no, yes, I'll go up against your champion then.
Okay, and the receptionist disappears off and comes back a few moments later and is like, right, come this way with me, please. And you can hear cheers and shouts begin to
He's
erupt.
like, oh, we're going now. All
Oh,
right.
yes, we're going to go straight into
Yeah.
it, yes. And you could
Yeah.
hear the cheers and shouts sorry, broken.
No,
You can hear the cheers and shouts going off, and you are taken through to the backstage area, and you can see a fight happening at the moment. There is a large man in the arena with not wearing anything on his top half. He is scarred and bruised all over. He's wielding a massive warhammer in his hands. It looks like he's got parts of armor that seem to have broken off, and he's wearing plated leggings. And running towards him is a figure with two longswords, or two elven longswords, so they would class as dexterity-based weapons if you were going into the sort of mechanics of it. And this figure jumps into the air, does a somersault, and tries to slash down. The figure with the large hammer blocks the attack, throws them off. This little elven person flips backwards and lands. This large figure is an orc with greyish skin and no hair, no beard or anything, so it looks like a Goliath if Goliaths were in this world, but that's the closest representation I can think of.
But he's a grey.
He's a greys, basically, yeah. And he swings the hammer around in a low arcing style, and then brings it up over his head and slams it down. The agile figure rolls out of the way as the hammer connects, and almost like an earthquake rumbles where you are, sort of shakes, and the arena breaks apart, and the footing underneath the elf falls away, and he goes to fall as this large figure grabs him round the cuff, lifts him up, and just repeatedly begins slamming him into the ground before throwing him into the stands where there's these nets that catch him in place. And you just hear the crowd roaring as this elven figure slumps to the floor, probably just hanging on to life. You watch as some robed figures come out wearing the white and black, the white robes of the light priests, and they begin casting healing magic to sort of heal him up. And you watch as a man wearing a suit with some darkened glasses comes out with a piece of wood with a stone on the top and begins talking into it, and it seems to amplify his voice outwards. That's the fantasy version of a microphone, everybody. And here we have another victim for Bone Axe. Now, Bone Hammer, sorry, is what I'm going to say, because he has a big hammer. Yeah. But Bone Hammer, now, is there anybody else who wants to take him on? And the receptionist who stood next to you goes, look, go to the curtain, you're on next.
Right. Just sort of like bounces and then like walks out, and it's like, I wish to challenge.
You're behind the curtain.
Yeah.
At this point,
I can't
so
go.
You can't go through just yet.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be announced.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. So I think I was sort of like get myself ready. I was like, and I was like, wait, okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
you stand behind the curtain and there's lights going on over. You can't quite see what's going on, but you can hear the announcer going, do we have another challenger? It appears we do. Behind that curtain now, we have an adventurer who has travelled from the far south from the deserts area. He has fought dragons and he has fought the undead. He has done so much. And he walks up to the curtain, he leans against it and he goes, covers the thing and goes, kid, what's your name?
Brahm Shatteroak.
Is that it? You got something cooler?
Shadow Shield, Dragon Slayer. I didn't realise I was going on right now.
That's lame. Don't worry about it. And he walks forward, and now we have, with his broken shield, he does not know you have a broken shield. With his broken shield, we have the one, the only broken shield. And the curtain pulls out, and everybody sees you. I need to cough after that.
Brahm walks out, mace and the shield, and he's like, so like I said, because his hands, it's probably not the best way of doing it, because his hand's not good. Like the shield is on his arm, it's strapped on, and sort of does do the like gladiatorial, like, you know, like if you look at him, he's like, I really do not really
Roll
know
me a
what's going on.
performance check.
Yeah. It's a 3.
Yeah, you walk through and you're like, and you put too much enthusiasm into it, and everyone's like, "Who is this guy? Why is he being this way?" And you're used to performing wildly, like you and your father would play arena when you were children, and you're sort of just doing that, and everyone's like, "Why? And everything just goes silent."
It's like I'm 12 years out of date. And also sort of like, I think on my journey, I've kind of done the bare knuckle boxing kind of thing, which has been more like back, you know, and being like a bit like, oh yeah, no, we have fun, and then we have a drink, and then it's fine, and that's how I've earned some money. But then I'm just like, no, this is not, sort of like, look, and then I just go, oh, right, okay. Look up at the look at, what was it, bone
hammer.
Very quietly go, afternoon.
I'm gonna grind you into dust. Get in.
Once again, insight of going like, it's like, okay, 13. So, real world wrestling. There's the performative side of wrestling of going.
If anybody gets any of this reference that we've just done, please put it in the comments.
Please do. Actual sort of like proper like WWE, where you're like, everyone's like, oh, it's not real. It's like, no, it's still sport, but you also have an understanding of going, right, we're going to work with each other. We know this move. We're going to still fight.
That's not this.
This is the thing. So Brahm has that moment of like, with the insight of going, oh, this isn't, I watched him throw that elf in. Is it a feeling of just going, don't kill him, but
fight him. Yeah.
Fight him to, you know, to unconsciousness. And Bram's like, all right.
Real world fact, and something that I discovered recently. You know how you have the UFC and MMA fights and all that sort of stuff? Did you know there's an armored version of that? Where people are wearing full knight's armor and they wield claymores and swords and hammers and they smack the crap out of each other?
That's very cool.
Like, I watched one where one guy, and they do like, they still fight MMA style as well. They'll knock the weapons out of their hands. One of these armored guys pulls the leg out from the other one, falls on top of him, and then just starts going to town on him with a metal gauntlet. They've got helmets on though, but it's like, oh my.
I think Bram's like, right, takes off the hat and the scarf. Again, like, I don't know if we get to see Brahm in present, like, without the hat so much, but like Tom has, like, with the dark curly hair, Brahm would, if he'd thought about it, Brahm would have shaved his head, so he doesn't give himself anything. Brahm, again, doesn't have a beard. I don't know if he can grow one so much, because it's like a mixture of, like, the elf
you can definitely. I hate that stigma, but yes, you can definitely grow a beard. I don't know if you're one of the sorts of people that doesn't grow one very well.
I think because my dad was quite sort of. My dad was beautiful as well, and then sort of like had a light moustache and that kind of like being quite dashing. Where Brahm is just like
he could grow a full beard if he wanted to, but
Brahm basically gets anything that he's like, this guy would grab me by the scarf and choke me. Throws it aside. Like,
roll me some initiative.
Here we go. It's an 8.
I am going to roll the dice. I also rolled an 8, but I have a +1 to Dex, so I rolled a 9.
Better than Brahm.
So he will go first. As you step into the ring, he just charges forward with his hammer and goes to bring it down on you. He's going to make an attack roll. He rolls a 9 to hit you.
That does not hit.
It just, as the hammer, this thing comes with some proper force. As it swings into you, you have to sidestep out of the way, or you will be crushed by it. And it slams into the ground. Oh, puny boy. And even though this isn't WWE style with they know what plays they're going to do and all of that sort of stuff, there's still a level of acting and performing that's done, even though
to each other,
there's still like shouting insults at each other and trying to big up the crowd and everything. And you can see, looking in the crowd, that the captain and some of his crew are there as well, and they're watching.
Brahm just laughs. He's like, "Is that the best you've got, great champion?"
I'm gonna grind your bones into dust, because I am Bone Hammer.
At which point, I think if it is that his turn?
That's his turn, yeah.
Yeah. So, Josh, again, like having things explained to me, is magic in the ring disallowed?
It depends on the magic, on the
So-
spell. You would have been told that any offensive spell, like Eldritch Blast, for example,
Yeah.
is prohibited. But if you want to use a spell or feature that enhances your ability to do things, like say Searing Smite, as an example, or Shield of Faith, then those are fine. In this particular matchup,
Yes.
sometimes there are rules and stipulations where magic cannot
has
be
been-
used at all.
So, Brahm has booming blade.
That would be allowed.
So
Because
that's
it's basically enhancing your weapon.
yes. I'll do a again like so the shield. He spins the mace, and for us, we can see as Hawthorne, as it's coming around, Hawthorne slinks down onto the mace, holds onto it, and I will attempt to hit this man. 22 hit.
22 will hit, yes. By
So-
a large margin.
Ooh, great. So we start with 5 points of bludgeoning
Amazing.
as Hawthorne leaps from the mace and sort of lands on this large man.
Yep.
I sort of again because that's within 5. So Brahm sort of like starts moving back to keep himself sort of like to keep the shield near him. Not to do attack of opportunity, but he's obviously sort of like moving enough. Again, for those of you who don't know, if my opponent now moves 5 feet or more before the end of the start of my next turn, he's going to take thunder damage.
So are you moving out of his threat range is the question?
Would that would be an attack?
That would be an attack of opportunity, yeah, but you would need to do that in order for him to then move to get
Yes,
to you.
yeah. Let's say I will that I've hit him, and then I'm sort of like I'm not moving, but like I'm moving back on my heel, shield up.
Yeah. He's going to attempt to make an attack against you.
Yeah.
That is a 15 to hit you.
That doesn't hit.
No, so instead of going to attack you with the hammer, he goes to grab at you.
Yeah.
But you pull the shield up. His hands come through the cracks, and he tries to pull the shield away. But you're able to resist and take that step away from him. Is that the end of your turn?
That is a action. I think that is. Let me just quickly have a look. Do I have anything? Can I also ask, healing in the ring, is that
Not allowed?
Okay, because I've got healing light and that stuff.
Yeah.
Just good to know.
Yeah, you would have been told that you would have been told you can magically enhance yourself, but you can't heal or cast magic that
Cool.
like range magic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yes, so that's my turn.
Awesome. It goes to his turn, and he's going to take a step forward. Does he need to make a save, or does he instantly take the damage?
He takes the damage.
Nice. How much does he take?
He takes 1d8, so he takes 4 points of thunder damage as
Nice.
Hawthorne just pews.
You hear the boom noise as he takes a step forward, and when you hit him with the mace to start off with, it let off that boom boom noise, and then as he's gone to take a step forward, it's like the boom noise has come back. It has come back, but it's like it's boomed outwards when you've hit him, and then as he goes to move, it sort of pulls back in on itself and does like an inverted boom. And does that damage to him. He shakes his head, and you can see a little bit of blood pouring out of his ears, and he's like, I'm going to enjoy crushing you, little boy.
Have to catch me first.
He's going to make an attack at you recklessly. Natural 20.
That does hit.
Yeah, so that'd be a natural 20 for a 23. So obviously, because this is the homebrew world, the crit rules are slightly different.
Yikes.
He is using a great maul, so there's going to be 2d6 damage plus 12. No, plus 15, sorry. Because it would be 2d6 max plus his strength modifier plus 2d6. Yeah, crits hit hard in this world.
Yeah.
Although I rolled a 3 and a 1, so you take 4, so you take 19 points of bludgeoning damage in total.
Ooh, that's a spicy meatball.
As he goes to swing at you and goes to bring the hammer round, you go to block it, but it turns out that it's a feint attack. And as he goes to swing, he lets go of the hammer. As the hammer drops down, he crouches down, grabs the hammer with that momentum of the swing still going, and cracks you right into your side, in your hip. Almost, basically, if this was a sword, it would have cut you straight in half. But you feel like your entire body jerk as you are shoved. He will push you 10 feet, but he keeps you within his 5-foot reach as he spins you round him, basically.
Nice.
That is the end of his turn. You will have advantage on attacks against him now.
I will. Yes, I will take the first attack. That does a 14 hit. Oh 14. No, hold on. It's let me roll again. With advantage, it's another 14.
14 just misses as the impact of the attack just puts you off guard. You weren't expecting to be hit that hard. His AC is 15.
I will
unarmored.
Do I still have advantage though? Because I haven't hit. It's
you use the advantage on that attack.
Right.
So it's only when he reckless attacks does he.
So it's the first attack.
First attack and second attack if you have one.
I've got action surge.
Yeah, you would still have advantage on him.
So with the first, and I bring it round. Ooh, for a 9. Yeah,
no.
The advantage.
Again, it's just the overwhelming strength from that one singular strike has just completely thrown you off. You weren't expecting him to be this strong. No. You thought he was all just for show.
Oh dear.
Is that the end of your turn?
That is the end of my turn.
He is going to make another attack against you. He's not going to do this recklessly, though. That is going to be a 22 to hit, because I rolled 19.
That does hit.
Okay, so he's not attacking you with the hammer. Instead, his arm reaches out and he grabs hold of your chest piece, and he's going to lift you into the air. His next attack is going to be to slam you into the ground. This seems to be a finisher of his. Right. So, but he can only do that one attack. So it's now your turn. You're in his grip. You can make an attack roll against him. It will be with disadvantage, but you can't move because you're currently in the air. Although you can use your action to break the grip if you want to, which will be contested athletics.
Let's contest it. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
I mean, Bram's shook, but he's also like, you need to make a good show here.
Make me an athletics check, please.
24.
I have a +5 to athletics because he has +3 and then +2 proficiency. I rolled a 2, so I got 7.
I think I full on like kick him in the jaw, and then again, it's weirdly I inadvertently repeat what the elf did and like backflip where Bram's like.
No, you don't quite. Your elven heritage sort of pulls through or wild elf heritage pulls through as you kick him in the jaw, backflip, and land 10 feet away from him, and he shakes his head at you. That would have been your action. You still have your movement and a bonus action if you have anything that gives you a bonus action.
Well, again, the problem is my bonus actions are all kind of like healing light stuff, which I've been told I'm not allowed to do. Interesting. So I have something called Adrenaline Rush, which lets me dash, but also gives me healing. If I did that, would that be looked upon as I'm not casting like a healing magic thing? I'm just
because it's an ability. It's not. Yeah. It's not seen as a magical effect, that's where things get a little bit sort of dicey, because that's a special thing for you, isn't
Yeah.
it? So that's something you get as an orc. Whereas if, say, Perry was to use their wings, that would be considered magical. So even though it's a species thing for them, but yes, your adrenaline rush just allows you to move forward, and then you would get some healing from it.
Bram sort of starts kind of like starts running, not like away from him, but like to go, I'm going to embarrass this guy by making him have to chase me.
You're making it in a performance, aren't
Yeah.
you? So yeah.
Yes, so I do adrenaline rush, so I use dash
Yep.
to kind of like make him, and I get 2 temporary hit points.
He's like, you little worm running away from me. Come on and come here and get grinded.
Bram's laughing, but it's the laugh of like, it's the manic laugh of, oh my god, I'm going to die. This is probably the most fun and most terrified he's been in a while.
It's his turn now, and he's going to hold an action for when you get close to him. And he's going to attack you.
Having sort of like, and I stop, I'm like, come on.
He puts the axe down, and he does the whole come on, and does a hand gesture for you to come at him.
I'm gonna roll like can I roll like a performance check to be like to try and get
Let's
like
do a contested performance check to see which one of you gets
Has
the
the
crowd,
better,
who's the crowd is. Oh God, who the crowd is voting for? I have a +2 to that.
same.
No, +4 actually. Sorry, because he's proficient with it. So I got a 10.
I got a 15.
Yeah, so the crowd is gearing more towards you, and it's mainly the captain going, come on, Bram, yeah, you've got this, underdog, and the crew are doing the same thing. You see there's money being exchanged between lots of people.
I think sort of picking up on it, and where I was like, yeah, I'm also like feeling the heat of the room, where it's like, haha, he's funny, he's running.
Your next attack, because of this, and this is a new feature that I'm now introducing because it's gladiatorial games, because we're going to do, I think this is a cool little rule to add in as a little bit of world building for everybody, that when you're doing these sort of gladiatorial games and you are performing for the clown, that there would be a performance check at the top of every round. And whoever wins that performance check gets a bonus. Your bonus is going to be that your next attack is going to have advantage without any, like, him reckless attacking or anything like that. So
Great. Okay.
as you're spurred on by the audience cheering for you.
I think if I move into his, he's going to attack. I'm going to get attacked.
He's going to use his held action as soon as you move within his threat range.
Yeah. I think I have to. There's not really, sort of like, especially because
there's no ranged options in this. Not that you have any ranged weapons anyway, but there's no ranged option in this fight.
I've got ranged magic, but again, I've been told I'm not doing that, and that's not honourable.
Instantly get disqualified.
Yeah, that's that,
and banned for life.
Yeah. Just imagine it was like, he went 2 rounds and then he cheated. I think I sort of, I'm going to sort of dodge in, getting ready to. I think both of us are like swinging at the same time. So if you want to,
yes, he is going to attempt to grapple you again. No, he's not, because that's a 5. Well, no, sorry, I rolled a 3, so it's an 8. That's a +5, so he misses you.
Bram sort of jukes out of the way. This is actually quite nice because Bram doesn't have the best dexterity, but I've been saying that's more with his sort of like his hands. This sort of thing where he's like, again, like when we're talking about like him doing wood carving and cooking, he's got a very good right hand for it. But it's like, so I swing with advantage. It's a 10. I think most of my energy's into like dodging that blow.
You miss. He's going to grapple you, and you know that you saw what he did to that elf, so you're like, no, I need to avoid this. So you put all of your energy into moving out of the way of that, and it puts you out of position for your swing, and your swing goes wide.
Cool. So I'm now within
5 feet of him. So
5
he is
feet.
now going to attack you again. He is going to actually going for a butt attack with his hammer. So he's not hitting you with the hammer itself, but he's looking to disorientate you.
Fair.
My God, that's a 4 for a 9.
Bram's in his element now. And I'm going to be, not audience, this is also, Bram is actually good at what because he's up against other sort of like amazing fighters who have like almost magical abilities, where Bram is now like down out, kind of like, no, I'm fighting him. This is kind of his element, where he's like performance and also fighting. So yeah, just jukes it away.
As you duke it away, you can see that this rage begins to build up in him as he's going to rage.
Fair, more than fair.
He's a barbarian.
Yeah, he is. Quelle surprise. Yeah, let's. I swing with the mace. Ooh, 20.
Locked.
Yeah, 25 to hit.
25 hits as you're both locked into this exchange. You blocked his attack with your shield, sort of catching the sort of rod part of his hammer in the crack of your shield and holding it in place so he can't quite pull it back. As you use that momentum to take your mace and swing out towards his legs, that hits. Roll me some damage.
Do I need to roll performance again?
Not yet, no. We'll do that.
Okay,
I will do that in a minute because he went first.
So 10 points of bludgeoning.
Okay, he halves that because he's raging.
And I'll also take the booming blade again, if that's okay.
That's fine, yeah. So that's that same noise, and it sort of echoes outwards, ready to be pulled within.
I think, again, like, Hawthorne's there, and I'm kind of like, I kind of quickly make eye contact with her, and then being like, how's she seem? Does she seem impressed?
She's not actually near you now. She's decided to
she's-
go into the stands and is now watching with imaginary popcorn.
But because I've said, like,
Or
when
ethereal popcorn.
when I do it, that's the sort of weird, because like when I cast it, it has been like Hawthorne jumping.
Yeah.
But now it's just sort of like, so I think that's the thing. Like I see Hawthorne jump, land, and then I look, I'm like, she's up there now.
Yeah, she's just disappearing around all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can still see like the vibration from the blade.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's going to be his turn, and he is now going to recklessly attack you.
Gracious.
That is going to be an 18 for a 21 to hit.
That beats it.
Awesome. Hang on. He should have a +5 to hit, not a +3, because he has proficiency. Okay, that's fine. The other attacks wouldn't have hit. It wouldn't have made any of the other attacks a hit. So that is going to be 2d6. This is where the +3 comes in. So that's going to be 8 plus 5 because of the rage damage. So that is going to be 13 points of damage as he smashes into you.
So interestingly, that takes me down. But as an orc,
Yeah.
and this is what saved my life with Kimdak, is that I think I go down and I just sort of like get to do a not like this, and then
Yeah. So as the hammer swings round, and instead of him hitting you with the end of the hammer, either end of the hammer, he hits you with the wide part of the hammer, and it catches you clean in the chest, sends you off of your feet, and you fly up and then land flat on your back, taking the wind out of you. And you just hear the commentator go, "Oh my God, Broken Shield has gone down. It looks like it's all over now." And just as he says that, you hear you cough and spit up, and you stand up. He's like, "Oh my God, Broken Shield is on his feet. What resilience does this man have?"
again blood just like pour, like my tusks have pierced my lip, and I'm just like, is that the best you got?
Broken Hammer looks to you. "Impressive. I'm still going to grind you down."
I
And
wouldn't have any other way.
your turn.
I will. Yes, because how far I've been knocked away from him, right?
About
But
10
I'm still
feet.
within 10
You're about
feet,
10 feet in the air, yeah. So
Yeah.
he needs to move to get to you,
which would do booming.
which would do booming damage. But
so,
does that? How long does the booming damage last for? Also, you need to roll a performance check. Both
I'll
of you.
roll. can I have advantage on the performance check because I just got back up from having my...
I'll allow it. I'll
Yeah.
allow it. I think that sounds cool.
I think it's fair.
I got
when you-
14.
It's a 10. Where I want to say, like, they're like, oh, he got up, but also a little bit... Sometimes he stayed
The
down.
Captain Dawson is still cheering for you, as is his crew, but the rest of the crowd are sort of gearing more towards Bonehammer. I was trying to think of his name for a second. Bonehammer. Yeah, they're more gearing towards him. So unfortunately, you do not benefit from an advantage this time. He will.
That's fair. I have second wind for my fighting thing.
Again, it's not considered magical.
Magic.
Yeah, it's not considered magic.
I just think it's good to check this. I'm going to roll my bonus action now because I feel like me having come back is also sort of like, well, I'm gearing myself up. So I do get 11. So I get 11 back. So I'm on 12 now. 12 hit points. Again, I honestly feel that Bram's put in a good...
Oh yeah, The audience is impressed. They're
not as
they're just more in favour of their champion.
Of their champion, yeah. As I bring my mace around.
Are you moving within 5 feet of him?
Is he gonna do it? Yeah.
He's not got a held action or anything.
No, I'm moving again, sort of coming like up. 17 to hit.
17 hits. When you do Booming Blade, does it change the damage type?
No.
It doesn't. So you do the normal damage. It does
so he takes 6 points of bludgeoning.
Okay.
And then that puts an effect on him.
3.
And then if he moves 5 feet before the beginning of my next turn, it detonates and it goes off. Right. Which I think I'm going to do now, like as I move and I kind of like roll past him. He's going to attempt attack of opportunity.
Attack of opportunity. This is going to be for a grapple, so he's going to try that. Well, he can forego doing damage to you to grapple you instead. Yeah. So that's going to be a 16 for a 21 to hit. Remembering it's a +5 to hit, not a +3.
So that he
so as you go to roll, he just brings his hand down and pretty much uses all of his weight to pin you to the ground before lifting you up in the air.
Sort of dangling. How's he looking?
He's looking almost bloodied. Now, when I say bloodied, I mean he's looking like he's almost at half health.
Right, because I've got some good blows in, and
you've got some good blows in on him. Yes. You've attacked. Okay, I was going to say because you've not used your action, but you have. So yeah,
I've used the action, and I think booming blades still. If I can, I will.
If he moves, but he's got you in a grip now, so I don't think he's going to move too far.
No.
But that makes it his turn. And he is now going to perform his finishing move on you, which means he's going to slam you into the ground twice. He's able to do this. And this is going to be a strength saving throw from you.
Nice. $14.
DC was 13, so you are going to half the damage from this. You can't avoid being slammed into the ground, but you are going to half the damage. I said he slams you into the ground twice, but it's only one set of damage.
Yeah.
Which is the D10.
Bang, bang,
D10 plus strength. So that is going to be 6 points of damage, half to 3.
Cool.
And then he throws you as well.
Yeah.
You saw him do this with the elf, and he throws you 15 feet, and you land on the floor. You won't take any damage from it because you don't go 15 feet in the air, you just go 15 feet along.
Sliding across.
And you're near the edge where the other people are.
But I'm not prone. It's sort of like...
I wouldn't say you don't get the prone condition, so
I'm still getting up, like as I land.
You could say that as you land on the floor, you roll into a more stood position. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your turn.
He's 15 feet away.
He's now 15 feet away from you. Yeah. You've attacked him with the booming blade, so it's up to you what you do.
So that's the thing. It's before the beginning of my turn, so that hasn't, because he didn't move on his turn.
So it hasn't gone off.
It hasn't gone off. There's no point in me being like a coward here, and the captain's agreement was, I'm going to get paid whatever happens.
Yeah, whether you win or lose, you're going to get paid.
And I'm going to get healed up. My point being is, like, Brahm knows that he's not going to die here, so he's going to try and make this. Again, he's going to try and make this as showy as he can, and just being like, yeah, I'm not going to win this one, but at least people would be like, oh yeah, he got a few good blows in on the champion. It's a bit like when you're playing it. Yeah, if you were like boxing Mike Tyson, and you're like, I was able to hit him. He slammed me into the ground, but I was able to keep going. Because I understand, like, the way D&D works, this has not been that long, but I went longer than the elf. I've put up more of a fight.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I'm running. I'm gonna use my bonus action to dash back in, which gives me the 2 HP.
Oh yes. Can you? How many times can you do that?
2.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I didn't know that, but yeah, carry on.
So that's the adrenaline rush. So I'm giving myself the 2 HP, but to get back in as the bonus action to, and I am going to take my swing.
Go ahead.
It's a 9.
Yeah,
So
9. You use the bonus action to get in, but your body's beginning to fatigue a bit from, even though like you said you've not been, but he's hit you very hard.
My chest always hurts, but I think it's not like I have.
There's a pool of blood that has begun to form there where that wound has been opened.
Reopened. Again, it's not like, oh, he's reopened his stitches, but that has reopened.
Well, there's a scar at this point. The scar has been burst.
Yeah.
That can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been torn.
This better be a longer boat journey, because Bram's just like, especially if I'm going up against the drowners, like, I'm just bleeding.
I mean, this is the first day. He said he was Captain Dawson said he was leaving in 5 days, so plenty of times. And then it's like a 3-week journey down, so you plenty of time to heal.
Plenty out. So, again, so like the back of like Dream Bram's head, it's like, why am I reliving this? Oh, it was so painful.
It's his turn now, isn't it?
Yeah, as I come running back, I miss, my eyes are going blurry. I miss with the mace.
Yeah, and it's performance check time again. I rolled a 9.
I got a dirty 20.
Okay, so you get advantage on your next attack roll. As he gears up to swing, he looks at you as you're sort of almost on your knees at his feet, trying not to show weakness towards him. You fall, and you just hear under his breath, all of that bravado leaves him, and then he just leans in towards you and just goes, "You fought well, kid. Take it like a champ." And he stands up and goes to swing the hammer at you. This will be reckless.
I think, again, like anime, where Brahm is like on his knees and we're sort of seeing like the blood pouring down. He's just like, is it a 20?
It's a natural 20. I rolled a 9 and a natural 20.
Brahm just sort of like, I think that's perfect, like, and Brahm just sort of like shuts his eyes and he's like, and very quietly says, "I'm coming for you, Greta." And then,
I rolled a 4 again on the damage. So you take 19 points of bludgeoning damage as he uppercuts you with the hammer and sends you flying in the air, and you fall out of the arena and just slump on the floor. You're unconscious.
Yeah.
And you don't remember what happens at this point. The mists pull in, and you awaken in the infirmary area where you've been patched up by the priestesses.
Woken up from a dream within a dream.
Yeah. And the captain has stood over. He's like, "You got some balls, kid." I say kid. I apologise, but
no,
we're definitely not similar, close in age. But
no, I'll take kid.
I tell you
Captain.
Here's your fifth. They've left, and there's a coin pouch next to your bed. Use that to fix up your armor. I'll definitely take you on as a. You showed some real balls. You might have lost, but you showed that you've got heart and you know tactics. So definitely need that on my ship. My name's Artelago, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Artelago.
Holds his hand out, shakes it.
Shakes.
And as we close out the session, because we have well overrun, not that there's really a time limit on these ones because they're not streamed, but they're just for YouTube.
Yeah.
But we end it with Brahm entering or boarding the Golden Maiden and it beginning to make its 3-week journey down towards Merkstead.
As that happening, and I guess as we're fading out, and I guess Brahm wakes up again in his bed.
Yeah, Brahm, you wake up in your bed having had a mixture of emotions for your dream.
How much do I remember?
You remember things happened. Some sad things, some happy things. You feel a bit bruised, a bit battered and bruised, like that phantom battered and bruising from the final dream where you got smacked about.
I think if that's okay, because it's like the last thing. I was like, like Bram's main memory was me getting beaten up in the gladiatorial pit.
You do find a small tear running down your face from other dreams.
Right.
But yeah, that's it. That's reliving some of what Brahm did during his 5 years traveling. He's a big helper. There could be other adventures that we could tell during that 5-year gap at a later date. Who knows? But in the meantime, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We have been Roll Together RPG. If you'd like what you've seen, you can catch us on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays on Twitch. On Mondays and Tuesdays, we play Dungeons and Dragons, and on Wednesdays, we do live world building videos or non-D&D games, depending on how schedules fall. All of those are from 6 p.m. UK time. Massive thank you to our sponsor Phoenix Dice and our supporters Bearded Ladies and Michael Dobson's character art, and to our D20 Club on Patreon. They are fantastic. They are the best. You can join them from as little as one of your local currency per month or one goat, which must be sent to Tom. All of the links to all of those will be in the description below. Speaking of the description below, please do consider leaving us a like, commenting on the video, and subscribing to our YouTube channel or to the Patreon. It helps let us know what you like so we know what to make more of. I think with all that said and done, we are going to leave and see you in our next episode. Goodbye.